just kind of like the Bible says so.
Yeah,
Right.
and so like that I was struggling because I'm like, hey, like I hear you, like I understand, like this is how you grew up, but like this is not how I grew up. Like
Right.
me and Jesus, we're not buddies.
Right.
You know, I don't know
And you
him.
were in a fight and flight situation.
Right, my whole life.
Your whole life.
My whole
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that my body's come out of fight or flight.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Dudes, One God Pod. Today, Pat and I have my wife, Michelle Thedford, on with us, and so this is really exciting. We've talked about her on a lot of episodes with several different guests, and I'm sure that she's listened to at least 5 or 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then life got busy because she just finished her second master's degree, and she works full time, and we have 2 kids and a house and 3 dogs. So we've been pretty busy. I'm going to let Pat ask all the hard questions so that I have plausible deniability on this episode. And if you're related to me and you don't like anything that you hear, mind your business. You know what I mean? Views expressed here, or however they say that disclaimer.
Yeah, whatever that disclaimer is.
Judge not ye lest be judged. Or he hath who carried the first stone throws it at the hookers, or
I think that's works. King James Version too.
Yeah, I was trying to get the best version,
the best one.
New Living Translation is something like, hey, if it says massage and it doesn't say, don't go there.
Yeah, don't do that.
If it just says massage, it's not safe.
Yeah.
If it's in between a drugstore and a liquor store, you're not getting a massage there.
I think you're accurate on that. I guess we'll kind of just give some context a little bit. I've been knowing you as long as I've been knowing Trey, and
so sorry.
I've known Trey through church and you through church, but like there's been an interesting dynamic in y'all's household because Trey is like, hey, we're gonna pray. Hey, we're gonna go to church. And you from the beginning was like, I don't believe in that shit.
It was real crazy because before she moved down, before we got married, she decided to move down.
I hadn't decided yet.
Well, we had decided that you were talking about maybe you'll rent an apartment or something, and you were telling me like, this is my routine, on Sundays I clean the house, and I was like, well, on Sundays we go to church.
And I said, on Sundays I clean the house.
And I said, you can do whatever you want to do when we get home from church.
After we go to church.
And and we sat in silence for approximately 48 minutes. And then I was like, well, I'm going to go to bed now.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no,
Right, yeah.
Like, this is it. This is the end. I don't think immediately tell the guys at Crossbrand about it, but I did message Travis before he got put in Facebook jail for 2 years or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to talk to you. And he's like, I'll be at the church on Wednesday morning, from 7 to whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so I went up there. And I was like the guy. There's always like a guy every now and then
that derails up something. Yeah.
Like
distraught.
There's conversation happening, and then this guy shows up, and he's like, anyway, I just came to talk to Travis. And then Travis is like, yeah, what's up? And then he's like, but there's other guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And I just laid it out. I was like, I don't know. I Googled stuff. I looked at ChatGPT. He's talking about unequally yoked. And Travis just listened. He asked me a few questions. And I, did what I do, which is just run my mouth. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, well, he's like, normally this is the opposite. Normally it's the girl that's like, hey, we go to church on Sundays. And the guy's like, oh, I don't know.
I gotta
guess
donate another day of my days off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said, I think that she's attracted to your faith. And I was like, wait, I don't have to break up with her. I can still marry her, And Travis was like, I mean, you do whatever you want to do, you know? And so from my perspective, she comes, and I never fought her. Like, she came to church.
Yeah.
And then we were going to Crossbrand, And then we would get, and like, no offense, but like we would get in the car and she'd be like, I just can't do this,
Yeah.
Well, it's not like the worship at Cross Brand, fantastic.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, love it. Every time I'm just like, oh, it's so good. Sebastian loves the sweet tea. Best
Yeah.
thing. It's his favorite thing. He's like, oh my God, they give me sweet tea. It's the best.
Yeah.
So, if we could figure out how to get some sweet tea at Wilderness.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. But it wasn't that. It was just like, if I'm spending my time, like I just wanted to be intellectually engaged and intellectually challenged. And I think that there's a little bit of a barrier when you're going to specifically like a cowboy church, because
absolutely.
like some of them just grow up and that's all they do. They don't know anything else. They don't do anything else. Like that's their life. And like, that's the reality, like know your audience, you know? And so I found like that I wasn't feeling like,
weren't convinced on it.
I was just like, cool story,
and, And Michelle's not a cowgirl, she grew up in
Denver.
Commerce
City.
I think the first time that we met, you were actually petting cows at Travis's house, and you were just so enthralled about these cows.
Was it Linda?
Yes.
I was like, listen,
and
Linda.
I'm like, okay. Like I've been raised around cows my whole life. I'm like, you get to know them 5 minutes, and you'll see why we eat them. Like, you know what I mean? But Linda's wonderful.
No, Linda's
beautiful.
No, Linda was she was the fatty.
Yeah.
So Linda kept eating all the food, and I was trying to get the other cow to eat food, but Linda was all about the food, and I was like, bitch, that's why you're fat.
Yeah.
Zephyr.
Exactly. But like you said, knowing your audience and that's so important, because a lot of people will sometimes walk into something and, they'll expect a sermon that's intellectually stimulating, and when they're not getting it, they're actually left wanting more. Like,
I mean, there were like jokes from the stage, and Michelle's like, I didn't get it,
What's the one that he likes to use, like a mosquito at a nudist colony or something like that? Like that's so Mike Morrow. But obviously, like, so just out of curiosity, was Trey's faith something that you were attracted to? Were you like, that's I can work it out of him type thing? Or
I mean, so when we like first started dating and I was kind of getting to know him, I was talking to my best friend and I was like, so I guess we just like won't talk about politics or religion. I was like, we'll just avoid those topics. Like, those just be like, those are like the, it's like, you don't talk about it in public places, right? So like, we'll just avoid that and we'll just see what happens.
We won't talk about it in the home either.
She worked on Obama's campaign,
Right.
I was 16. I couldn't vote. I was young, like.
That's their target audience, by the way.
Absolutely.
Dead people and teenagers.
Anyway, so like, I mean, I grew up in Denver. It's just a different environment. It's not East Texas. It's different. It's 100% different. But I was just like, like I'm not like the furthest left. I'm very fiscally right.
Right.
Like that's been always like really libertarian is what I would more identify as really through my whole life. But I was just like, we'll just avoid those topics. It's okay. We'll just see what happens. And like, we didn't talk about it a ton, like I think that he was nervous to push the subject also because he was like, oh, well, that could be the killer. Audience. Yeah, it could be the killer of like the relationship, right?
Right, absolutely.
And so like that Sunday, that Sunday conversation, I was like, maybe this is it,
I thought so too.
Maybe I don't need to pack my life up and move states again.
Look, 40 plus minutes of silence, I was pretty sure that like that was neither one of us wanted to say anything else or hang up. And I think
which is unique.
She
was the one that was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I'm the leaver.
Yeah.
So,
so
I would say the answer is like, no, not particularly. Not that it didn't become, but like at the time where we were at, when he had that conversation, no.
So Travis is wrong?
Travis, I would say, was incorrect
so
in that.
That's interesting.
At least not consciously, right? Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't speak to that, but like from like the forefront of my mind. No.
And obviously, I'm sure that was kind of the first time that y'all had even had the discussion about like, had y'all talked about faith before that?
I think
I'm sure if it was very surface.
Yeah, I don't think it was
level,
super deep, but I
or it just
I had
slid
come
it
down
in.
one time and gone with you to Crossbrand, hadn't I?
I think one time she came down and we went to Green Acres. We went on the motorcycle, but they changed the times. I didn't know. I grew up there, and we got there like halfway.
We were late.
Oh yeah,
I'm not a late arriver.
She was like, "Whoa, it's already started," and like the music was already done when we got there late, and like the security team was like watching me, like
Suspicious.
don't worry, guys,
and
tattooed arms.
I'm backing for y'all.
we go in and it was like Mission Sunday, and so some missionary was out talking, and I was like, "This is already weird." We're late. It's not the preacher.
Right. Bad timing.
Weird.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get me to hear David Dykes. Is that or was he not preaching anymore?
I don't think David was. Really
No, it was
preaching.
someone else after, but he was like, "It's good. Like it'll be so good," and I was unimpressed. No offense again, but one totally out of my element, right? Like. I can think back. I mean, I think I only ever went to church one time when I was in foster care, like with that family. Like they were the.
Let's rewind a little bit. So Michelle's from Denver, specifically Commerce City.
Yeah, Commerce City.
Yeah, and she was best friends in undergrad with the girl that my brother's with, and that's how I met her in 2019. December 2019. So I was up to visit my brother and ski, and she came over to have drinks and hang out. And I think she was maybe interested in, she was having some kind of a thing going on with one of my brother's roommates at the time. And I met this girl that was like a manager of Texas Roadhouse Kitchen or something. I don't know. I sat on the plane next to her, and I thought that this thing was going to pan out because I thought she was cute. But anyway, we never did connect. Michelle and I didn't connect. And then...
I mean, we talked.
We talked, yeah.
Obviously, there was a connection at some point.
But we didn't connect.
There was no further, like... That was just it. And then the next time I met her, we talked more, and it was less confrontational than it was the first time. Because I feel like the first time... I don't know, we kind of... Anyway, look, the point of this is she grew up in Denver, I grew up in Tyler. And specifically, she grew up in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood.
Yes.
Like what do you think percentages look like?
Probably 70.
70% Hispanic and 30% white?
I mean, I couldn't speak specifically, but it's predominantly Hispanic, and then white, and then black other.
Got it.
Yeah, so predominantly Hispanic.
Got it. And
low income.
Yeah, so like industrial inner city feeling kind of is what. Well,
so what was your upbringing like? Like your parents, what was? Yeah, you mentioned something about foster care, and and I'm just curious about what that all looked like for you.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Woo! My both of my parents have a taste for meth, so that is their drug of choice. My mom, I was with her predominantly. My dad was kind of in and out of my life, so I didn't know him a ton, but it was not the most stable. I went to foster care, I'm pretty sure 3 times total. One time my mom just gave us to foster care, and then my grandma found out and was like, what is going on? So she gave me to foster care, and my brother went to Fort Logan, which is like a mental hospital essentially. Like just checked him in. Don't know why, I couldn't tell you. Like I don't know specifically. And that was older. We were a little older at that time, and my grandma was like, what the heck's going on? Came and found out finally, but my mom would disappear and be quiet so that no one would know what was going on.
Yeah, nobody would ask questions, right? Type thing.
Because if no one's around to see, no one knows what's going on. And so there was super super volatile, unstable. Whoever she was dating, whoever she could get drugs from. A lot of use of the system for food, benefits, health insurance, food stamps, Medicaid, pay your rent. Section 8 is what it's called. Sorry. And so as like an adult, it's like the children were the meal ticket, like we were the way that she was sustained. She didn't keep a job very long, especially when she was using. If she had a job for an extended period of time, she was sober for a little, but I didn't really know that until I got older. Like I didn't know what it was. I just knew something wasn't quite right. So yeah, it's, not the best,
Right.
But like it could be worse. That's kind of just what I tell myself whenever I'm feeling whatever about it. So really pretty much raised ourselves, me and my brother. So I have one brother, he's older than me. But he kind of reclused. He kind of like stayed in his room, stayed in his games, avoided the conflict, avoided the problems, and instead I did my best to avoid being at home. So I got involved in school. I did extracurricular activities. I played sports. I took honors level classes. I was like, hey, if I'm gonna get out of here, it's gonna be through education, because like there's no other way out.
We got no money.
Yeah, like no one's paying to get me out of here. Right. So if I'm getting out, it's gonna be through that pathway. So that's like the synopsis. I mean, we can get in more depth if there's additional questions. I have no problem talking about it. But overall, like we didn't go to church. We didn't pray. We didn't talk to God. I didn't know God even if he knew me. Right? Like we weren't friends. Yeah. I was very much in survival mode from pretty much day 1 to 16 when I left my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was there ever, like, I guess obviously you didn't hear, prayer, you didn't hear anything like that in the household. What was the moment where you can think back, if there was a moment, of the concept of God? Was that ever even?
There was, actually. So I'm trying to think when it was. I would have been 7. So it would have been October of 1999. So now you all know how old I am. I was 7, and I was going to a school in Thornton at the time, because we moved around a lot, wherever we fell is where we landed. And I was going to an elementary school there, and the teachers identified, hey, something's not right. These kids, my brother and I both, need somebody. They need something. And so Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America, which is not just a Colorado, like that's a nationwide thing. Yeah. They ended up pairing my brother and I both up with a big brother and a big sister. And my big sister, we still talk to this day. That's awesome. It's like, it's crazy. Trey's met her. Yeah, she came out. Saw the house, visited Tyler. We ate at Stanley's, so she got to experience some of the Tyler.
She got to eat good barbecue.
Yeah, she got some Texas barbecue. We made sure to get it in. Yeah. So we got paired up when I was 7, and that was really like the first person in my life that like wasn't related to me, right? Because like you'd expect your family would try, would help, would be involved. But she was like the first person that like didn't owe me anything, that like gave me as much as she could give me. She showed up once a week, twice a week. I mean, once a week, once every other week. Sometimes it was harder. Like she's talked to me and she'd be like, sometimes I'd be like, hey, where am I picking her up from? And it would just be like a random address. And she would just like show up and be like, okay, I'm here. And then she'd be like, she's on her way out. When you bring her home, drop her off here, Yeah. Oh, and she would, obviously as I've gotten older, like when I was younger, we didn't talk about it, but she's like, I'd get off the phone, I'd like drop you off at home, and I'd call my mom and I'd be like, thank you so much. Like, yeah, you were such a good mom, and, so like that was, she very much believes in God, and she didn't push the topic too hard. And like, if you asked her, if we got her on the podcast, she would say that was one of her regrets, is that like she didn't try and influence my life more from God and that perspective. But like for sure we'd be like driving, she lived in Fort Collins, or Johnstown. Like there's different areas that she's like lived in, and we'd be like driving, and she had like the little CD, and I don't know who it was, but it was like the little kids bop, and it's like, I am a C, I am a CH, I am a CHRISDIA. That is so like funny. Like that, like she wasn't like, this is God and this is, but it was like those little
seeds,
just little.
She didn't want, Michelle's mom to say, "Hey, you can't come get her anymore."
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
We talked about that on the last episode, not with the last one, but who was it we had on last time? Rock. That managing that relationship. Yeah, that's a really difficult one to be in, especially whenever we're in a unstable mother situation who can literally say, "I don't want you around for any reason."
Right.
And it sounds like your mom wasn't too open to.
I don't know that she would have. And like this is my perspective because like just think about like once a week, once every other week. She didn't have a kid in the house.
Babysitter. Yeah.
It's like it's a built-in babysitter, right?
Yeah.
And I don't say that in like a rude way. I just mean that like, hey, that's one less thing for her to have to worry about during that time.
Right.
And I don't know that.
Time out. This dog.
I knew she was going to want to come in here.
Yeah, she loves us. All right, Roxanne, go in your chair. Your chair. Go to your chair.
Get in your chair.
No, oh. All right, this episode features Roxanne.
Everybody, welcome Roxy to the podcast. Hey,
Yeah.
Roxy.
She needed in the room, so we can continue on because she was alone.
Yeah.
I don't know that she can even recall it.
Right.
Like I think that to my mother, she did the best she could do.
Yeah.
She was as there as she could have been.
Mm-hmm.
She was as present as she could have been. She was the best mom she could have been.
Right.
And like, I don't want to take that away from her, but it wasn't good enough.
Right.
Like that's just the reality of the situation. No matter who looks at it,
Mm-hmm.
her, like if she looked back and could recall what I can recall,
Yeah.
I think that even she could acknowledge and identify like, oh, that probably wasn't how that
There's
should have
some
gone.
basic human. There's just like expectations of basic things that you can get, like clean water, safe place, electricity,
Food.
Food, right? And so like when I was getting to know Michelle, and she opened up a little more about her childhood, and I just felt terrible because I'm like, we had a boat, 2 or 3 cars,
Right.
My parents were married, and here I am with an associate's degree working whatever sales job I have now.
Mm-hmm.
And like, here she is, she's got a master's degree, and I told her this, and she wrote me this huge text message, and it basically said like, she got a front row seat, like a master's degree education
On addiction.
on what drugs and alcohol do.
Mm.
And like we didn't have it in our house. I mean, there was a wet bar in my house, but the only time I know for sure my dad was hammered drunk was on his 40th birthday, which when I look back, I'm 40 now. It's just weird for me to think, but my parents were older when they had me. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My mom got pregnant at 21 with me and had me at 22.
Mm-hmm.
No, 20 and had me at 21.
mm-hmm.
Had my brother at 20. And his thing was like he was just like texting me, and he was like, I just feel like that he had so many advantages to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the way that he grew up and the life that he lived, and like essentially like he feels in like a failure in some way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's easy for you from your perspective to feel that way, but like from my perspective, like I had the advantage.
Right.
Like my advantage was that I watched drugs destroy
firsthand.
Yeah, destroy my parents. Like
Yeah.
watch them both, watch them both have a hard time, watch them both struggle, because my dad did come into my life later on, and he was a little more active and more present. And I don't know how much of that was his choice or how much of that was my mom. Like it's hard to differentiate that for me as a child, but I watched it mess both of them up. Both of my parents' criminal record is more pages than it should be long, and like, but that was the decision making, like influenced by drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think sober that some of the choices they made, they would have made, right? And so I got to see the real life firsthand consequences
Mm-hmm.
to making the choice to do drugs.
Yeah.
And so I knew, hey,
I don't want to do this.
yeah, I'm like, firstly, my mom's a meth addict, my dad's addicted to drugs. The odds aren't in my favor, realistically, right? Like, I already know myself well enough to identify that, like, I like adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
I like roller coasters. I like things that, you know, like
make me feel alive.
Yeah, because I just want to feel something, right? And so like I'm sure meth would make me feel something.
Yep.
And then I would want to feel it again and feel it again and feel it again and feel it again. And then what? And then what? And then I would repeat the cycle.
Yeah.
No way. Can't be me.
Yeah. So you got through high school. You said you left when you were 16. Did you graduate high school then, or?
No.
Okay.
So, you know, my mom ended up in a pretty rough and abusive relationship. And, you know, we were the topic of conversation often. You know, I was going to get pregnant. I was going to have babies. I was whatever.
She was projecting that on...
No, her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend
was. Would what? Like, when in their fights, they would be like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you're going to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, one time I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with this. I like ripped my door open. And I'm like, keep me out of your fucking arguments. And I'm 14.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'm young. So like, that's
Let's
pretty.
Go.
I'm like, buckle up, you know, like I'm ready today. And I slammed my door, boom. Because I'm like, that's right. Mm-hmm. I did that shit, you know, like, pardon my language, but here we are. Like, that was that moment for me. And I'm like, okay, you know, my heart's like, you know, because I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've done.
Stood up.
Yeah, like that's I've never done anything wild like that.
Right.
You know, I've never snuck out. Like I was a good kid. I was a pretty good kid. And like, and I'm like, oh no, here we go. You know,
buckled.
Yeah, buck. You know, like knuck if you buck, right? I'm ready. Boom, my door gets kicked. Boom, folds in half. You know, so like I don't have a bottom half of a door right now. You know, he's like swings the door open. And he's like, now you don't have a door. You don't deserve privacy. And I'm like, didn't want it anyway. You know, like, I don't need this door.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Bud.
Like, what's this door do?
Yeah.
What safety does this door give me?
Nothing.
None. There's no safety in this house, sir.
Yeah.
You know, like, pick the door. Take it. I don't want it. You know? And so I was just like, ooh.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. And so we were living in a Section 8 house, right? We didn't pay rent. And when we first moved, the first time we got approved for Section 8, it was 2000. And so, like, prior to that, we slept wherever we slept. You know, friend's house, car, park bench, whatever. Like, we're going to make it work. And so we got Section 8, and it was in February of 2000. And I remember because that was my brother's birthday present, that he was going to get his own room.
Wow.
Because he was born in February. And I was like, we're just meeting some bare minimum requirements now, you know, like, again, not to...
We're getting there.
Yeah, you know,
how old were you in 2000?
I would... No, not...
I'm
you, right?
Don't trust my...
Yeah, I was born in 92, so...
Okay. So you were 8.
8. Yeah, so I was 8. And I didn't go into foster care again after we got Section 8. So my foster care was all before turning 8. So after 8, we had Section 8, and the government pretty much took care of that. So we didn't, the moving around and losing your home had subsided. Right. So it was less sketchy in that way. Yeah. And I was like so optimistic. I was like, oh, things are going to get so good. We've got a stable house now. Like things are, like we had a place to live, but that didn't make the environment more stable. Yeah. Right. Really it made drug access, I think, easier because the burden of financially paying and providing a stable home was lifted, right? So if you made money, then that money no longer needed to pay for the house or the car that we were living in or whatever, right? And so so that happened in 2000, and so I was like, okay, you know, we're good. Like everything's gonna be good. But she dated whoever was convenient, whoever was, you know,
around,
right? Like
whoever was holding,
whoever was who could help her with what she needed. And I forgot really which direction I was going with this conversation. Oh, we were talking about
when you moved out. Yeah,
and so she dated this one guy for a really long time who thought people lived in our attic. I'm like, why does he think that? Well, drugs. You know, like I was still too young to identify that that's what the problem was.
You're like, nobody lives up there.
I'm like, yeah, let's just go check it out. You know, like we'll just open it. We'll just figure it
out. No.
You don't want to see these guys.
Oh, these guys are serious.
Yeah, it's like tin foil on the, you know, aluminum foil on the windows type of stuff, right? And so I was just like, you know, okay, cool. But he had a kid. He had a son. And my brother and him shared a room. And I had my own room at that time. And I was like, okay, we're moving up in this world. I got a bedroom to myself. I'm like, yes, okay. But the house was filthy. We had like piles of laundry all the time, dishes that never got washed. They were disgusting. It was horrendous. And poor him has had to deal with me kind of working through some of that. Not being able to go to bed if like there's dishes in the sink. Because I'm like, if I don't, we'll have maggots tomorrow. Like that's not how that works, but
it's what you
the
convinced
conditioning.
yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so she broke up with him and then started dating this other guy, and he was an alcoholic. So I don't know if he used drugs with her, but he for sure drank. And it was for sure hostile, angry drink, And so there was like one night the fight was like really bad. And like most of the time I just close my door and disassociate and go to bed. Like I'll figure it out. I don't really go to bed, but you know what I mean? Like I'll get through it. But this night, it was just like super, super bad. And my mom came into me and she was like, stay in your room. Don't open your door, And I was like, didn't plan to, But it got like super, super crazy. So I went in and I got my brother and I was like, hey, we got to go. Like, this doesn't feel right. Like something's not good. And so we packed up and not like packed up, but like we packed up ourselves, Yeah. And we left and I left my door cracked, open so that she would notice that the door was open because she specifically told me not to. And I'm like, that'll be the, like mom sign, like
they're not here.
The children have left the building.
Yeah.
And so we walked 1.5 miles, 2 miles, maybe 3, I don't really know, to my grandma's house and just showed up there in the middle of the night. And I was like, something's not right. Something's not good. And he ended up beating my mom pretty bad that night. Like after we left, and she ended up with a concussion. And my grandma, when we got there, she was like, haha, let's call the cops because this, isn't right.
Yeah.
And so the cops ended up showing up. She got taken to the emergency room. He got arrested. I don't really know when or how he got out. I don't know any of the details again because I was just living my best life. Yeah. And she got in touch with our landlord, who was the Section 8 landlord. And he was actually, I think, a pretty good landlord, all things considered. And she was like, we got to move somewhere else. Like, he assaulted me. He's going to the police, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's been arrested. Like, we can't stay here. We're not safe. And so he got us a different unit. Yeah, somewhere else. Not too far away, but like same city. We don't have to uproot our lives. And so me and my brother and my grandma packed up our lives. And I don't know, my mom was gone. She was like, not there. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Where's my mom? Well, I found out later on, but which I'll get to. And so we moved into this new house, and he got to see like the state of our house. And so there would be times we didn't have water, we didn't have electricity, we had like big tubs, like like you fill the things up at like the
make sure you
the
have
windmill.
water.
Yeah, so you could like flush the toilet, boil water, do like normal things, right? And I thought it was just like normal. Like I just thought this was normal. This is like just life. And I found out obviously as I got older that some of that was like, meth, water for that type of stuff. But that was like, he was like, so when he redid the lease, he increased the amount, and I don't know if this is legal, so that he could.
Statute of limitations, you're fine.
Okay, cool. So that he could include the utilities. So he kept the utilities in his name.
Okay.
And paid them with the Section 8 rent.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So that we wouldn't be without water. Because like, how do you there's like rules. I think there are like legal rules against like you not having running water in a home. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's again, basic things you're supposed to have. So we moved to that house, and then I was like, okay, now life will be good. We're making progress, right? Like no more abusive boyfriends, maybe. Ha ha ha. I came home from school one night. My brother and I, we walked home from the bus stop, and we walked in the house, and the same dude sitting on the couch.
Ugh.
And I was like, cool.
Here we are again.
But like, what do you do?
Right.
And so when she was missing while we were moving our whole life, she was taking him to the Denver Rescue Mission, which is like a shelter downtown Denver, and probably having adult relations and telling him that if he could stop drinking, he could come back. Well, he didn't stop drinking, but somehow he came back. Yeah. So I'm like, good job, you liar, you know? And so one night I was like, I knew, like I said earlier, like I knew school was my way out. That was what I was going to do. I was super invested in school. I took honors classes. I took hard classes. I fought with my counselors. Like I advocated for myself because I was like, I'm going to college. And like I tested into 7th grade in algebra in 7th grade, which is super early because you normally take that in high school. But like moving on didn't matter. Like in middle school, your grade didn't matter. All that mattered was being able to demonstrate that you learned the knowledge. So like I didn't do the homework. I was like, I don't care what grade I have. All I got to do is pass this test and I get to take the next level class. But in high school, as soon as I got to high school, I knew that like, hey, these grades matter now because every application, everything you do from 9th grade on, that matters because that's my ticket out. That's how I'm getting out. And so one night I was needing to do some homework, and this is when I was 16, and my mom was like, you need to clean the house. And I was like, hey, I don't have time to be Cinderella today. Like I spent plenty of time doing that, keeping the house clean, doing the laundry, whatever, while everyone was passed out on drugs like that. I did that enough, and tonight was like I needed to do my homework. Like my priority is not this house because I'm a child. My priority was school. My homework that needed to be done. And my mom was like, you need to stop being a selfish bitch. And, it was like crazy. And I was like, I just need to do my homework. Like, I have to get this done. It's due tomorrow because, I am a world-class procrastinator. I'm going to wait till the day before the paper's due to write the paper because deadlines don't scare me. And she was like, well, you either get up and clean this house or you pack your shit and get out. And I never went back. So I went and lived with my grandma for my last 2 years of high school and finished high school there and never went back. But I think to Section 8's knowledge, I still lived there. And food stamps.
Of course, she's not going to change that.
Yeah, of course not. Then you got to figure your life out.
So what college did you end up going to?
So I ended up, that's another good story. I went to CSU Fort Collins. So the senior year of high school, so I was involved in a program that's called Talent Search, and that is like a program exclusively through CSU. And Dan Banuelos is the gentleman that like ran that, and he would be another person that I credit with kind of me getting out of my life. He just was like, just believed in me, like even when people that should have believed in me didn't believe in me. And, so there's a scholarship, it's called the Daniels Fund Scholarship, and it's a full ride scholarship to any university that you get accepted to in like the US, anyone at all. And it's not just like tuition and fees, they cover your living expenses, like everything. Like you just show up and you just be a student and you just go. And you can look it up, but like it's like pretty much like you're a diamond in the rough, right? Like things may not have always been good, but you always led with community, integrity, leadership, hard work, and so at that time you had to be nominated for that scholarship. Now everyone can apply in the 4 states that it is eligible for. So that's the Four Corners. So Wyoming, Utah, New Mexico, and Colorado. And that's Bill Daniels did stuff in every one of those states, which is why those are the states that are encompassed in that. And so he nominated me for that. And I know that when like some of the kids I went to school with found out that I was nominated, they were like, why is she nominated? Because like I didn't go to school like I had struggle. Like school, I was happy. I was happy at school because like that was the safest place I knew. So like I was in a good mood. I was like, oh, it's so good to be here. Like I
don't have to be home.
Right, I don't have to be there. Like I did everything I could to not be there because there was not where I wanted to be. And so he nominated me, and the application is 26 pages long. I still have it printed. It's in a box here. I have every page printed from 2010. And I applied, and I told myself, like, if I don't get this scholarship, I'm not going to college because like I can't afford to go to college. What am I going to do? Drown in student debt? And I'd visited universities, and I really wanted to go to Florida. I visited Florida International University, and I loved the campus. And unlike everyone else in Texas, like I do enjoy the humidity. I do like the heat, maybe not as extreme as it gets, but like I don't hate it. I'm not like this place sucks because of the heat. And I was like, I can go to Florida. Like, it's cool. I'm going to do that if I get the scholarship. Well, you don't know. You don't find out that you get the scholarship until like April of your senior year. And like, that's too late to be making a decision.
And probably even to be applying.
Yeah. I mean, I applied everywhere. I wanted to go to School of Mines because I wanted to be an engineer because I've always been good at math, which explains the second master's that I got. Yeah. But I just didn't get a high enough ACT to get accepted to School of Mines. And I was like, okay, I'll go to Florida International. And then I was like, well, I guess I better make a realistic choice because if I don't get this scholarship and I do decide to go to college, then like it needs to be affordable. Because like Florida International out of state is like $50,000 a year. Like,
golly.
Yeah, I'm not taking out that type of student loans, you know? And so my big sister, Julie, the one that I got paired with, she graduated from CSU. And so there may have been some external influence, you know, like, oh, check CSU out. Like, this is cool. I went here. Ha ha, you know. Cool. But also the program that I was involved with and the teacher, Dan that I talked about that nominated me, he went to CSU and that program was through CSU. And so I'd been to campus. I'd stayed the night. I was like, you know what? Like, I know that I'll get some basic stuff because I'm in state. I'll get in-state tuition. There's some grants and scholarships exclusively through low-income schools, which is what one of mine was. And I was like, I think even if I don't get the scholarship, I might be able to afford this. So I committed to going to CSU. Also, my best friend from high school was going. So I was like, safe. Yay! Yeah, we'll be roommates. It'll be fine. Like, it can be okay. And so April 16th, which happens to be my birthday of 2010, I got a letter in the mail from Daniels Fund. And so it's a 26-page application. And then after that, they pick the top 500 people from all the applicants that were nominated. And then they do in-person interviews. And so I had a practice interview scheduled with Dan. And like a panel, you know, they were like trying to prep us, you know, like we're just high school students. Like I don't have interview panel practice. I don't know how to do that. And so they did that prep that day. And the day that I had that was the day that my great grandma passed away. So I had to like go into this practice, like knowing my great grandma had passed away. And she's one of the people that took care of me. One of the times I went into foster care, she like made a room for me and my brother and she like saved us. And so like she was important to me. And so like that was a tough day. But you know, I showed up, I practiced, I did the work, and then they interview the 500 people, and only 250 people out of all of the people that apply get this scholarship. And I'm like, don't hold your breath, you know, like the odds are low already. And so I went to the interview and I don't remember much about it because it was so stressful. Yeah. But I do very much remember one specific question they answered, and I'll never forget it because like I was like, they said that if you could have dinner with any two people, dead or alive, who would it be and why? And that's a tough question, you know, like I'm here prepped to talk about like what I've done, who I am, how I got here. But like, who would you pick?
Me?
Yeah.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive.
Oh. Dang, that's such a hot on the spot.
I got it.
Question.
Go.
Jesus Christ and Adolf Hitler.
That's okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna chew on that one. I mean, Jesus would definitely be one of them, but like I know him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I know
like
him.
You know, like you're having like a dinner.
Yeah,
right?
dinner.
So it'd be like the Last Supper, right?
Yeah, definitely. If it's like a sit-down dinner, you know, all that, it's definitely going to be Jesus and, I don't know, like my grandpa or something like that.
Okay. So my answer was Hitler.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Shut up.
So it was, yes, really. So my answer.
No way.
It's for real. So for real. So my answer was Hitler and Obama.
Okay.
Okay. I know, bear with me.
They're kind of the same guy.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Oh my gosh. Anyways. And so they're like, you know, and why? Right. And so I'm like, okay, well, Hitler, because like, I would just love to pick his brain. Like, how could you convince so many people that what was happening at that time was okay?
Right.
Like, how?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I can't wrap my little brain around being that influential, and not in a good or bad way, but like just having the ability to influence people to that degree.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
And then I said Obama, because regardless of your political views, because like that's sketchy. I'm in this interview with people, and what if they're not fans of Obama?
Right.
And like, this is my whole life on the line. Like, to me, right? This is it. This is everything. This is my only chance to get out of where I'm from. And so I'm like, because regardless of your political beliefs, and this is like, I'm verbatim, you can't disregard the boundaries and like that he's breaking through being who he is, how he looks, in the position that he is working toward.
Yeah.
And in, right? And so to me, like, and I was like, and that's what this scholarship is about, right? Like, maybe the circumstances aren't the ideal. Maybe maybe everything's not the way you want it to be. Maybe you're fighting every odd, but like, he did it.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how you feel about him politically, he did that.
Right.
You know, and it was like, that's the only thing I remember about that whole interview.
Was that like an air ball, or was that...
I don't know, right? Like, you don't know. Like, you know, is it alley-oop? Are we swooshed? Like, what are we doing? Or did I ruin my opportunity because this specific answer?
Right.
And so April 16th, my 18th birthday, I got a piece of letter in the mail, and it was an envelope from Daniel's Fund, and I found out that I got that scholarship.
Yay.
On your birthday?
On my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. So I was like, woo-wee. So we went to the little Mexican restaurant in Commerce City. My grandma and my grandpa, we ate, and I was like, yes, life's good. La Casa del Rey, the House of the Sun, is a little Spanish restaurant we go to in Colorado, in Commerce City, Colorado. Shameless plug. I don't know if they're still in business.
We'll find out.
And so I went to CSU, and I graduated high school 7th in my class. Mm-hmm. I had a 3.9 GPA. I thought that I had my whole 7th out of, well, we started at 6.
Y'all had some hard-working folk in your school. That's for dang sure.
But we started out as like 600, but only 253 graduated.
How's that for statistics?
So
holy cow!
Just kind of paint the idea. I mean, this is like gang members, right? This is like.
I mean, it's you just people fall into the patterns. Yeah, you just fall into the patterns. Mm-hmm. And it's I don't know, like there was some gang stuff, but it's like mostly like you just start working with the family, you know, like.
Got it.
I think I was one of 4 people who dropped out before graduating. Yeah. In my class, and there was like 48 people in my class.
Yeah, graduating high school where I came from was a big deal.
Yeah.
Like making it there. Like there's a girl that I went to high school with that before she graduated had 3 children. Mm-hmm. Before graduating high school.
3?
Had 3 children.
She already had income.
Yeah. I mean, your mom kind of proved that one. You know, you are the meal ticket, essentially.
So, wow. But it's like, I wasn't even thinking about that, you know, I'm like, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
But like, you know, like that's just the reality of it, you know, like when you don't have anybody guiding you, you know, and I don't know what their home life was like. I don't know that, you know, like we weren't like best friends or anything, but like you just do what's modeled.
Like, what have they seen, you know, other than that, right? Like, have they traveled? Have they seen anything outside of there? You know, a lot of people.
Also, you kind of have that choice because like, you could have ended up just like your mom and having kids. You could have ended up just like that girl in high school having kids. You get a meal ticket from the kid, you're good, you're covered. But I
think the parenting worked though. You know, like the mom's boyfriend guy was like, "You're just gonna get pregnant." And she's like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
Watch
Screw
me.
That dude. Yeah.
I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah, and
I'm very stubborn.
You saw that firsthand. So, but you had a choice. You could have either listened to that dude's, you know, cut down, or do exactly opposite. And obviously, you did just the opposite of that.
Yeah. I mean, like statistically, I should be maybe a prostitute or a drug addict. Mm-hmm. You know, realistically,
or both.
Both. Yeah, I mean, like live in the best of both worlds. You know, Hannah Montana.
Yeah. So what was your major? Like, did you start out?
Yeah. So I went to CSU. I got accepted into the engineering program, which is a pretty good engineering program. It's, you know, it's not School of Mines, but it's a really good engineering program. And I walked into physics for physical scientists, and I was like, he was like, P-hat, V-hat, vector. And I'm like, the only P hat I know, sir, is statistics and probability, you know?
Yeah.
And I quickly realized that, like, I'm good at math, but science and me, we're not homies.
Yeah.
We don't get along. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing that. So I just changed to, like, general studies. And then I was like, okay, I got to figure something out. So then I was like, I'll do sociology. You know, I'm going to study people. I'm going to figure out why people are the way people are, you know, not psychology, but sociology. Yeah. And then I was like, and I'm going to minor in global environmental sustainability because I'm going to save the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I quickly realized no one's going to pay you to save the world.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, that's not going to work. So I got to figure something else out. Mm-hmm. And I flunked out of college.
Ooh. Airball, bro.
Yes. So I lost a full ride scholarship that would have covered every penny, everything. Flunked out of college, moved back to Denver. There were a lot of things that contributed to that. My grandpa was sick, you know, and he was the other person that, like, raised me when my parents were doing what my parents were doing. And so I spent a lot of time driving down every weekend to, like, spend time helping my grandma, visiting my grandpa, seeing my boyfriend from high school. Like, there were a lot of things that I didn't prioritize school because...
You made it.
I made it.
Right? You're there.
Yeah.
Like
I made it to college. Yeah. What do I need to do now?
What do I need to do?
And, like, getting to college, I mean, graduating high school really was easy. Mm-hmm. Like, high school was not challenging. You showed up, you did the work. If you were, like, forgetting an assignment, the teacher would be like, hey, don't forget to do your assignment.
Yeah.
Do it. You got until the end of the week to turn it in, you know? And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. I got this, you know? College was very much not like that.
Yeah.
They didn't care if you showed up. They didn't care if you slept in. They didn't care if you turned your assignment in. You just got your grade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I went from top of the world to 1.9 GPA.
Oh, that hurts.
Academic probation. Yeah. First semester. And I was like... And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to figure this out. You know, I think there's some things, right? Like, I didn't really love my major, so I made some changes. So there was some, like, trying to figure some things out. But, I mean, just really, I didn't know how to learn because even though I graduated 7th in my class, I didn't learn how to learn. I just showed up.
Yeah.
That's it. I just showed up.
You just
so
did the work.
I thought all I had to do was show up and I could pass college, but that's not the reality of college. That's just not. It's not that difficult, but, like, if you're expecting it to be high school, it's not high school. It's a little different. And so I flunked out. My aunt owns a car wash in Littleton. And so I asked her, like, hey, can I come work? Like, I just need to kind of get my life back together, get my life in order. She'd let me be one of the managers at the car wash. Started working there. I met my son's... Yes. Yeah. I met my son's dad.
Yeah.
Got pregnant. And the rest is history.
Yeah. But that's a good story too.
Because, but hold on.
Okay, what do you got?
I want to hear about how you ended up with those 2 master's degrees on your wall. Because, like, you did that.
I did.
Yeah.
Much later.
Yeah.
So I got pregnant at 21. Mm-hmm. Not very fresh into 21. Mm-hmm. And I had Sebastian when I turned 22. Mm-hmm. So super young, you know, and I was working at the car wash. Like, I mean, it was not like the worst, but it was like, I worked 55 hours a week until 2 weeks before I had my son. Like, people were like, you're pregnant? I'm like, yeah, but I got to work, you know, I got to pay bills. I've got to figure things out. And so I did that and then had Sebastian and then realized that, like, you can't work 55 hours a week and have a kid.
Yeah, no.
You know, so my son's dad worked and I stayed home for 6 months of Sebastian's life. Mm-hmm. And that's not a job for me. I don't know how moms are stay-at-home moms. It's not me. Can't do it. Nope, not for me. Can't do it. I'm too stir crazy. I feel like, what am I doing to contribute to the progression of our life? Yeah. Like, if I'm just sitting here, like, I understand sure, we're not paying a babysitter. Like, there are some things, but, like, what am I doing?
Right.
You know? And so I went back to work. I unloaded semi-trucks, like lumped semi-trucks with my dad for a little bit. And then I landed at T-Mobile, which is where I've been for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I was really little nervous about that. Like, I've never really been in sales, and like technically, like, it's sales. It's not like commission only sales, but it's still sales, right? Like,
Yeah.
you got to get to know people, you got to talk to people, you got to ask questions, you got to know these things, you got so much stuff to know.
Right.
Super complicated. And so when Sebastian was 3, I was like, I have to go back to school. Like, I have a kid, and like, how am I gonna let him grow up and me be like, you got to go to college?
Right.
When I dropped out.
Yeah.
I flunked out, lost a whole full ride scholarship.
Yeah.
Who am I to tell him that
Right.
he's got to go to college? And he doesn't have to go to college if he doesn't want to go to college. But like, if that's going to be something that I'm going to say, hey, this could make a difference in your life, it needs to have made a difference in my life.
Yeah.
Because then I'm just a hypocrite.
Right.
Then how am I any different than my parents?
Yeah.
I'm not.
None.
And so I went back to school in 2018, and, D's get degrees.
D's get degrees, baby. That's right.
But they don't transfer.
Oh, dang. Oh, dang.
Yeah, so I had 93 credits. So I was 1 year away from being done with an undergrad at CSU. And when it transferred to Metro in Denver, because, I was back in Denver, 54 credits.
Oh, no.
And I didn't have a full ride scholarship anymore.
Right.
So I had to, actually pay. But it's amazing how when you're paying for that tuition,
Yeah, you earn it.
you give a shit about it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh, that's okay. I'll just take 3 years. No big deal. And I was like, I'll do 12 credits at a time. No problem. It's okay. I can do this in 3 years. So I did 1 year, 2 semesters of 12 credits. And then I was like, maybe I should meet with an academic advisor just to make sure I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
And I went to the academic advisor, and they're like, it's going to take you 3 more years if you're doing 12 credits at a time. And I was like, yeah, I don't have 3 more years to give you. So I started that in 2016. So I guess Sebastian would have been 3. He would have just turned 3. Yeah. And so about 2017, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this for another 3 or 4 years. And I'm like, let's come up with a plan. And so while working full time, having a kid, I did 18 credit hours per semester and took 15 credit hours per summer, which is crazy because summer classes are crazy.
Yeah.
And I finished in 2 more years. So I graduated in May of 2019.
Wow.
And so that was my undergrad, which is in just business management. Because I was at T-Mobile, and I was like,
why not?
Applicable, right?
Yeah.
I'll move up in management, and I'll kind of just work through that. And so finish that, and then by the October of 2019, I'd started working on my master's in business administration. And then I got into a car crash right at the beginning of 2020, and I got a really bad concussion, and I was having a hard time doing school. And so I was like, I don't need to do this. So I withdrew for a little bit, and then ended up going back and finished the master's in business administration. And so I finished that in March of 2022. So shortly after we had started dating, I finished my master's in business administration. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to take a break. I'm good. I'm totally fine.
Liar.
I did take a break. I did. I did take a break.
I would have called it good at the first master's degree.
Yeah.
No, but the story is that she decided she wanted to get a doctorate.
Yeah.
Oh, got you. Yeah.
So I wanted to get a PhD. Well, I want to get a doctorate, PhD degree.
Okay.
And that was kind of a little conflict in our
It
relationship.
was really the first real argument we came into.
Yeah, because we didn't argue about the church thing. I just got quiet and we ended the conversation,
Yeah.
So we never really argued about that. When I moved, we just started going to church, and I was just like, I can compromise. Like,
Yeah.
She even woke me up one day, and said, hey, we're running late. You need to get up. We've got to go to church.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can, if this is the expectation, then it's the expectation.
Yeah.
So get up.
Yeah.
Carry the
that.
team,
Wild.
So
you, after you got your master's, you were going to take a break.
Yep.
Well, it's like she finished the master's while she was working. She got promoted. So
Yeah.
she was a store.
So
she was an assistant manager, and then a store manager, and then she took a promotion
in Kansas.
to move to Kansas City area and be over 22 Metro by T-Mobile stores.
Okay.
In
That are
Kansas City.
third-party
I
stores.
definitely would have been good with that, but maybe I'm going to.
And she was making
Good
good
money.
money, real
Yeah.
good money.
Real good money.
And that's when that's really when she moved. So she moved what, first
In
of the year?
November.
November.
No, I moved in
Right at the
November,
end of the year.
end of the year.
So I drove to Colorado to see my brother and sell my Subaru. And when I came up there, it was like Thanksgiving weekend or something. You know, I had Lexi with me. It was a mess. I sold the Subaru. I bought a little Camry for my brother. And then they had like a Friendsgiving or something. And so Michelle came over with her boyfriend, who's like a 7-foot tall Puerto Rican guy.
Wow.
6'2".
6.
That's pretty tall for a Puerto Rican.
What are you, like,
I think
5'9"?
5'10".
Yeah.
On a good 5'11" on a good day.
6 foot on Tinder.
When he was on Tinder.
Shout out to the ladies. I'm joking.
I'm not offended.
Oh,
You can't hurt me.
Oh, yeah. Anyway. And
we played a game.
We played a game. What do we play?
Use your words.
Use your words. Use your words. If you got a Steam account or a PlayStation or an Xbox, search for Use Your Words. It's super fun.
It's
you have
super
to use
fun.
your phone.
Yeah. And so I put my name in as, like, it was kind of like this ongoing joke. So, like, everybody in the room, everybody, except for maybe us, could identify, like, there was, no, I identified it because I talked about it in the bathroom to my best friend. But we identified there was, like, some chemistry,
So
some tension.
let's put it together. We're at my brother's house. He's in the kitchen. Or on the floor, right?
On the couch.
He was on the couch. And then his girlfriend. And then Michelle. And then me. Michelle's boyfriend is like sitting in the kitchen. And my brother and he are like watching whatever football game's on or something, right? They were doing something sports. And like, I don't watch sports.
Yay, sports ball.
You know? And like there was like mad chemistry for sure between Michelle and I. And the game is suggestive. It's kind of like what is that card game?
Cards Against Humanity.
You know, it's not like that, but the theme of the game is adult-ish.
Yeah.
And so
very adult-ish.
You know, and you get to pick your name, and so you answer questions on your phone, and your answers show up on the TV, and so everybody has names, and you know, mine was like Daddy or something. You know, and keep in mind, I've driven overnight. Like, so I left at like 9:00 at night and drove straight to Denver.
Took a power nap.
Took a power nap. Lexi's still out, you know, like we tried to, right when we got there, we tried to sell the car. It was a mess. We ended up selling it anyway. So we're pretty wiped out, and like, I was having a good time. I just made some money, you know, got rid of a car payment, had a paid for vehicle, you know, which is like, if you're listening and you've never had a paid for car, don't do it. It's a trap. It's going to blow up. It's going to get stolen. You're going to get in a wreck. It'll get totaled.
Every time I've paid my car off, it's been totaled.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, just.
Yeah, we're getting kind of close on your car, huh?
No, not yet. Shh. I got hit. Yeah, you know, we had that incident. So I was in an accident the other day.
A little too close.
Yeah, but it's fine. You know, I think most of it will buff out. I think it's going to be fine.
David looked at it and said it's
all
gonna
buff out. I thought so.
Bring it to me. He said, I'll take the seats out. I'll do all that stuff. I said, well, I'm not the middleman in that deal.
Yeah, I looked at it and I was like going back to my car detailing days, and I was like, I don't think there's any paint loss. I think it's just buffing, and I think it'll look good.
Has good paint.
Yeah. So,
quality.
Anyway, my name on the game was the most fucked up because I am the most fucked up.
Yeah.
And I did win the game, actually. I did have the most points.
She did win the game.
Yeah. But anyway, the point was, it was like there was clearly chemistry, and I played this one and it was pretty vulgar because, you know, I also have a potty mouth. I also don't really have a filter. And the guy that I was seeing at the time was like super offended.
Yeah, and my brother got offended during some of this too.
I don't think he did as much.
Maybe he didn't, but
the person that I was seeing got offended, and it was like a fight that he and I had later, and he was like, there was something going on with you two. And I said, hey, I've only met him one other time before, and that's like 100% the truth. Like, like, you know, I talked to my best friend in the bathroom, and I was like, I feel like something's like there's chemistry, but like maybe I'm just making that up because like I'm a female, you know, I can think things, crazy things. Like I'm totally capable of being crazy, batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I'm making it up, you know, like, yeah, I'm making it up. And she's like, I don't think you're making it up. And so then it became a fight with me and the guy that I was seeing at the time, who turned out to be a sleazeball, fucking convict type crazy scammer. But that's okay. We avoided that.
She's had like people reach out
and be like,
did
he scam you of money? He stole my whole 401k. And I said, look, if there's one thing I don't play about, It's my money.
Yeah, you ain't getting no money.
Yeah. And I was like, nope, he didn't get any money from me. I won't be any help to you. I'm so sorry. But like, I mean, it's like I dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Dodged a bullet.
Yeah, she could have been on one of those Netflix documentaries.
Yeah, you got, you know, but he was supposed to move out to Kansas with me from Colorado. Like I had already, so at the time that we hung out Thanksgiving, I had already moved all my stuff to Kansas. And my house in Colorado was on the market.
Yeah,
like
they were
I'm
like
just
sleeping on an air mattress or something.
I was just waiting for it to sell, you know? And so I had all his stuff already in Kansas. And then like there was like little lies and things that I was like noticing. And I was like, I have to break this. I can't do this. I'm not going to.
Too many red flags.
Yeah, I'm not going to bring him to Kansas and then dump him because like what kind of a person does that?
Right.
You know, like have someone move their whole life
Very
to another
empathetic
state.
Of you.
And then like be like, get out.
Get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, dude, like I'm done. Like I just can't do this. Like the next time I come to Colorado, I'll bring all your stuff back. I'll put it on the front porch. Like you can pick it up there. I don't want anything of yours. Like I don't want you to lose anything, but like change your plans. You're not coming here.
Right.
Like period.
Yeah.
And so about a week later, I slid into the DMs.
What's up?
And that's pretty much the beginning of it.
I think what it was is you liked one or two of my pictures.
No. First I slid into your DMs and you didn't respond.
Oh yeah. I was liking your pictures.
Yeah, and so then I sent another message. So I double messaged him to try and get the attention. And it was like a meme of like a big envelope, like trying to fit the envelope into the mailbox. Right. And I'm like, when you say like, I can handle your problems, you know, and like it doesn't fit, you know, because like I was like, I really am the most fucked up, you know. And so then he went in and like liked like 8 of my pictures. And I like sent a screenshot of all the likes to my friend who's dating his brother. And she was like, yeah, to this day they're still together. And she was like, wow, lay it on thick, you know? And I was like, I know. So then I went back and liked one less picture, right? So like he had like 8, I liked 7, right? Like I can't come on too strong. Right. I've already double messaged you. So like we're already in enemy territory.
I didn't notice any of those details. I was like, she likes me.
Yeah, she likes
He's like, got
it.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So then we just started talking and like talking all the time, messaging all the time. And that's FaceTiming nonstop. And that's how we started. And there were some really pink red flags along the way.
Hold on. So it's like December is the time.
Yeah, when you drove out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this year, I don't even know what year. That's 21 December.
Yep.
Yeah. We decided as a family we were going to have Christmas Eve and day at my aunt's house in Plainview, Texas. And so I drove my little brand new
Camry,
2004 Camry with 40,000 miles that had new shocks, new struts, new 2021 Camry wheels and tires, backup camera. I took the system out of my, anyway, I had touchscreen CarPlay, moonroof. This thing was nice. This old lady just drove it on days where it didn't snow.
To get groceries.
Just to get groceries. And, anyway, so I drove out to Plainview and my brother was there and his girlfriend was there and my mom was there, and I had my dog with me,
And I had flown from Kansas to Denver to watch my friend's dog because she was in Plainview.
Oh.
So I was in Colorado dog sitting.
Okay.
So we're like messaging and it's like late, Christmas Eve or early Christmas morning. And she's like, well, like I'll fly back on this time. And like, you should just hit an airport and fly. And I'm like, well, I got my dog. She's like, I'll buy your plane ticket. And I'm like, I don't know. Let me look. Maybe I could drive to Lubbock or Midland.
Bold.
And she's like, why don't you just drive here? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's
10 hours.
She's like, I'll cash app you.
Send him $200. Boom.
Yeah.
So boom, like my cash app, like I'm in the back seat of the car with my brother, and it's like a ching, and Brett's like, "What's that?" And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I was like, I might have to leave. I got some work at home I got to do, and so I start like kind of developing this thing,
this plan, this scheme.
I tell my brother and my cousin, I'm like, hey man, like on the down low, I'm going to Kansas City to hook up with Michelle.
Yeah.
And I'm like. But I'm like,
don't tell mom.
But don't tell mom that, I told her I got to go work, and I've got this dog. And I'm like, in hindsight, I probably should have just let mom have the dog.
Yeah.
She was on the podcast earlier, anyway. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go. It's like 5:00 in the afternoon or something.
I mean, it was
7.
It was like 8:00 at night.
8:00 at night, Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I get in my car in Plainview, Texas. I gas up, and I just
drive
deadhead straight to Kansas City Airport. And she's like, I'll just unlock my car. And
my
you can get
keys for my
spare
apartment.
key.
No, they're my actual keys.
That's so crazy.
Like, I drove I drove to the Kansas City airport and got on a flight to Denver to go dog sit, right? And so I was like, I just left my house keys in my car because why do I need to take those to Kansas?
Right.
I mean, to Colorado.
You can just lose those.
Well,
in
and be
Colorado.
responsible for them.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like I can't.
Yeah, that's the way I am.
So they're in my console, like in my glove box area, and I'm like, they're safe there. When I get back from Colorado to Kansas, I just get in my car with my one key that I'm responsible for keeping track of, my car, and then I can drive home, and then I've got my keys, no problem. And so I was like, hey, you like my flight leaves at 6 a.m. Denver time or whatever, and so like I'll get into Kansas at like 7 a.m. Like you should be to my apartment by then, no problem. And so I was like, when you get to my car, and I had like a pin of where my car was, just sent the pin to him, and I was like, let me know when you get to the car, and I'll remote unlock my car because I had an app
phone,
right?
Which is crazy.
I'm like in Colorado, and I'm like, bing, and it's like,
she's
unlocked.
like she isn't even at the airport yet.
No, I'm at the airport.
She's at the airport. So she unlocked it. I got her key.
And then I just relocked it.
And it's like you're standing there, and then it just goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh, what?
100%.
Yeah.
And like, look, I sell cars now. We got that. You get that feature for 8 years if you buy a new car from me. And so anyway.
Shameless plug.
Come see me. Trey at Pelche Chevy, 903-262-4000. We won't miss you on price or something. So anyway, so I drive to her apartment.
And it's 30 minutes from the airport. So like he already drove 10 hours to get to the airport and then has to drive like 30 minutes through Kansas.
It's crazy.
Terrible Kansas.
I was flying, man. That Camry was like, I had the system going. She talked to me on the phone for most of the drive, which is crazy. She stayed up. I was like, I'm going to be jamming my stereo, get the moonroof open.
And I was like, no.
Blah, 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 the whole time.
Yeah, because I had to make sure he didn't fall asleep and crash. Because if you fall asleep driving regularly.
Yeah, I fell asleep riding a motorcycle one time.
Yeah, I have too.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I got to make sure you don't die on the way to this appointment.
Yeah.
And so
appointment.
Yeah. I'm not gonna fill in the blank, but and
it
so
rhymes with pick.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Anyway, so I get there and it's like a really nice apartment and it's in like Overland Park, Kansas. It's like
I did my research.
You got to be wealthy, white, Asian, or Indian to live in this area. It was super nice. And so I get there and I let my dog pee, and I go in and
takes a shower.
I went through every drawer and every cabinet in this apartment, and I'm like just trying to make sure that she's not gonna like kill me or something. There wasn't like a tarp in there.
I didn't know about that until later.
I looked through everything. I took a shower.
He made sure I didn't have any crazy medicine. You told me that.
Yeah, 100%. Hey. Yeah.
Hey, you gotta check in on.
Yeah, no, I didn't even go to the doctor before we started dating, so I didn't have medicine.
Yeah.
So.
It's like, yep. Anyway, and so I just went to sleep in the bed.
He sent me a picture of him and Roxy in my bed, and I was like getting on the plane in Colorado to like fly to Kansas, and he's like in my house.
I'm on my way.
I ended up staying for like a week or two, didn't I?
3 days. You had to get home because Lexi was coming down.
That's true.
Yeah. So
that's true.
But anyway, that's like the beginning of like our in-person hangout, know each other, get to know each other, and that that's how we've gotten here.
Yeah.
And so we did long distance for a year. Really, because I moved to...
Yeah, but I spent most of that next summer out there.
Yeah, so...
A lot of it.
Anytime he didn't have Lexi, essentially, he was doing remote work with me. He was in Kansas, and so we spent a lot of time together. And I got to hang out with him and the dogs. He brought them with him on the trips, and, it was just kind of like the beginning, and then...
She bought me tires.
Yep.
Oh, I totaled that Camry, and then she was coming down that next weekend, and
that would have been May of 22.
Yeah, and then she used her AAA to tow it from the impound lot from wherever.
AAA,
Tyler.
I highly recommend.
Shameless plug.
AAA. Absolutely.
Hey,
If they want to sponsor
us,
we
AAA.
love us some AAA.
Yeah, I was a 20-year member of AAA until I didn't renew this last time because of financial constraints.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
So,
It happens.
So, where are we at?
So that's kind of like the beginning of how y'all's relationship developed and kindled. Okay.
And so then I moved to Texas in 2022, December of 2022. And well, really the end of November.
Yeah.
So
well, she made several trips. In fact, one time, like, she's like, well, I just got off. I'm going to, Sebastian and I are going to do something. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, well, I just got it.
Turned off my location.
Work, and then like I wasn't looking at her location or whatever.
I turned it off.
And then I get like a knock on the door. And I'm like, I didn't order anything. And I open the door and it's her and Sebastian. And I was just like,
oh,
shocked.
What? It was like, it was a 3-day weekend for school or something. So she just came down.
Like, but surprise.
She made several single vehicle trips and brought stuff, boxes and that kind of thing.
Yep. So
in November.
Moved everything down. And because, my lease expired in November, but like I wasn't leaving T-Mobile until December because like I wanted to make sure I gave them enough time to fill the position because.
And to get you another one.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get another one. I just quit. I couldn't find one. And I was like, hey, I'll figure it out. Like everything will be fine, which is not a very Michelle thing. I'm not a very let it be.
New things.
Yeah, that's one of the things that she's like, how are you not like stressed out? Like you just have faith that things are going to be
He's just always like, everything's going to be fine. He's like, God's got us. And I'm like, like that's how I like, I'm just like, it's.
She's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like the first lock in, they're like, tell us a time when you just like knew God had your back.
I haven't.
I said never.
Not once.
Not one time. Not one singular time.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, tell us more.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm like, yeah, surely. So I mean, like, so I moved down. We're gonna get there. That's like that's like the beginning.
That's
of
the next segue. Yeah.
And so like the first weekend, I'm like, okay, life's good, everything's situated. Like,
I mean, we're like move and unpack in one day. That's how we do. We've done a few moves now.
Yeah.
And she's really good at organizing and packing and labeling. And
he's really good at moving heavy things.
I can move heavy stuff,
carry stuff.
Yeah, and so we
will hire professionals the next time we move because I'm not doing it again.
I don't like
it. But not the ones that Brett and Candy hired.
It's too soon. It's too soon.
Cut that.
Yeah, cut that part. Anyways, the next weekend, like that first weekend, he's doing something, and I was like, I'll go pick Lexi up from Midlothian. Mm-hmm. I go drive and I'm like, she can drive home. Like, it can just be like a little me and her adventure, Well, because like, I mean, like, how stressful. Like, I adore her, but like, she's a teenager. Mm-hmm. I'm not equipped for a teenager. At this point, I have a 8-year-old, 7-year-old. How old was he?
7.
So like, I'm not teenage ready and I'm not teenage girl ready.
Right.
No. I was a good teenage girl, but I know what them teenage girls were doing.
Right.
3 pregnancies, like I know both sides of that. Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm going to make sure I spend some time and really try and make sure like I can develop a relationship with her because like, I want her to be able to talk to me. I want her to be able to engage. Like, that was really important to me just with my past, Mm-hmm. And, so the next weekend, that weekend we drive down and then like, she just breaks down and she's like, I'm not going back home. Mm. And that was like the beginning of that, which he's talked about on his episodes before. And I was like, talk about throwing a wrench in my plans, and I was like, was not ready for this. And so we pretty much catapulted into a full-time family of 4 all the time that, made sure we were going to church every Sunday and we were doing the things. And I was like, I'm going to do this because, like, it was important to Lexi, like, she had faith. He has it, So I'm like, I'll be present for this. I'll be mindful. I'll be considerate. I'll be, I'll be the things that I'm going to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And so the first lock-in, I guess, would have been March, right? It would have been March of 2023 because I moved in December. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go. And he was like, you should just go. Like, it can't be that bad. Like, it'll be okay. And I'm like, clearly you don't know women.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's sketchy. Mm-hmm. Just let me go hang out with a bunch of girls that, like, I barely know.
Right.
Like, they kind of know me, but, like, they don't know me.
They
don't know me. They don't know anything about me. They don't know who I am, like. And I was like, you know what? fuck it, I'll go, you know? And I took my little blow up bed and everything, my little pillow, all that stuff, but I left it in my car. I didn't bring it in.
Right.
And we're like sitting at the table and they're like, oh, did you set up your bed? I said, I ain't setting my bed up until I know what the vibes are.
Right.
Like, I'm not committing to spending the night here. I can go home at any time I want. And I was so real about it.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, you know, and I think that's like, because most people are like, yeah, I'm going to spend the night. Like, I'm going to hang out, you know? And, you know, we started talking and they asked that question and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not my experience. I don't have that experience, you know? And then I think they were like, what? You know? Because like, who
you don't believe in God?
Yeah, but it's like who goes to a lock-in that's like focused on building a relationship and getting closer to God when you don't believe in God?
Right.
Who does that?
Yeah.
Crazy. But who's the target audience? You know?
Exactly.
Right? And like, I don't know that I've got everything figured out. And she's asking me, you know, during all this time, we're going to Cross Brand, now we're going to Wilderness, and she's asking me these questions, and I don't feel equipped or prepared to answer these questions. And some of the questions she has, I can't answer.
Right.
Like, I mean, not just that I'm not equipped. Like, I'm like, damn, that's a good, you know.
Yeah.
She's like, well, so everybody came from Adam and Eve, right? And I'm like, right. And then she's like, okay. And then the whole earth got flooded and everybody came from Noah's family, right? And I'm like, right. And then she's like, okay, so why aren't we all inbred?
Genetically make that make sense.
You know, like, figure this out with me, you know?
Well, do we want to go into that? Or
no, we don't have
the story. We don't have time.
No, I'm just, so it's just like, you know, like those are like when you're thinking about
she
things.
asked questions like this at the lock-in. Like they had a thing and they were talking about, what is it?
Discernment.
Discernment. They were like, well, you only have discernment if you believe in God. You get it from God. And
that's the face I made.
Yeah.
Because like I don't think that's
she's
true.
like, I have discernment. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know God.
And
you
so
know?
like
you have to use discernment whether you're getting regular unleaded or super unleaded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's definitely.
But they were just kind of like the Bible says so.
Yeah, and so like that I was struggling because I'm like, hey, like I hear you. Like, I understand. Like, this is how you grew up. But, like, this is not how I grew up.
Right.
Like, me and Jesus, we're not buddies.
Right.
You know, I don't know
and you
him.
were in a fight and flight situation.
Right. My whole life.
Your whole life.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that my body's come out of fight or flight.
Well,
if we're
I think it is now, and we're dealing with the aftermath of that, you know? Like, she's got her skin hurts, and, like, she's
like
got...
weird things, you know?
She's
like,
just got some
pain
things.
and stuff. And, like, I never had that because my body was always like...
Tense.
We're not okay. Nothing's okay. Everything's bad. And so, I'm like... you can't just tell me that. Like, that's not a good enough answer for me. Like, it's not going to do it because that's the textbook's answer. That's what you've learned. That's what you've lived and heard your whole life. But like,
it's very cliche.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
That's not my experience. My experience is if God was real, why did I live the life that I lived?
Yeah.
If God could intervene and fix everything, why did I live the life that I lived? Why do kids live lives like I lived?
Absolutely.
Like, someone answer me that. You know what I mean? And like the textbook's answer, free will. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like if at the snap of a finger he can solve that, why wouldn't he?
Right.
You know? And so like that's where I'm like, don't tell me this. I don't need a Bible to feel if I'm being a good person.
Right.
You know, like I know what the right choice is without the Bible telling me what the right choice is because like I can tell.
It's written on your heart.
Right.
And that's biblical, by the way.
Yeah, it is. And so that was like, we had some, you know, I think there was some good dialogue. And like, Michelle was really open and honest. And like, I guess that's something, whether you're trying to buy a car or start a relationship or be friends with somebody, you know, it's always easier if you're just upfront and honest from the get-go, you know, because if you try to hide, if you try to put the mask on, if you try to give the right answer, then we can't get to the root of the problem, you know? And Michelle, not only was she open and honest about things, but, you know, which was really crazy. You know, I've never experienced anything like it, you know? I mean, anybody that I met that either didn't believe in God or didn't think God could be proven or whatever the case, you know, agnostic, atheist, Wiccan, whatever your deal is, you know, they had like an agenda. She didn't really have an agenda. She just had her life experience.
Yeah. And wanted to understand.
And she was seeking and searching and like going to church and listening to the sermons and taking notes and, Googling and chat GPT and like asking other people, like trying to get answers.
That sounds like you're genuinely trying to build your worldview, because maybe your whole life you've never been like challenged with having and it is a challenge having someone of a different faith in your household whenever you don't even like have a foundation to believe in, because you've lived this life of fight or flight. It is what I have in this moment right now. It's what I believe in.
Right.
And it was either the cards you were dealt or it was the hard work that you did. Like, what's the tattoo on your shoulder say?
It's in herself she'll find the strength she needs.
In herself she'll find the strength she needs. And like the first time I saw that, I was like,
yeah.
Because that's not my experience was different than that. My experience was I can't do anything right for my dad, for the family, black sheep, whatever you want to call it. Right. And then the things that I did try desperately to put together, they didn't work.
They failed. Yeah.
And so, and I went, well, either God doesn't care or he won't help me or he doesn't exist. And I had like my little bout of agnosticism or whatever. Right at the beginning of me getting into recovery. So I was 18. And then, but really quickly get hit with like higher power, God, and so, and I'm like, well, how does this work? And they're like, no, you don't have the Midas touch of shit.
Yeah.
You're not a bad person. You're a sick person. You're afflicted with a disease of addiction. And so I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? Well, it lets me off the hook.
Right.
And then it says, hey, the way out of this addiction problem is through a higher power. It's through God. So, you ask God to solve the deficiencies or the problem that you have. And so, here I go. I meet Michelle. She's got a tattoos like in her own power or whatever. And I'm going, dang, I've been living through the grace of God's power, for the first several years of my life. And then with a intermission and then starting at about, 18 or something. At least within some bounds, or at least surrounding drugs and alcohol, And then after my first divorce, I realized that like I had somehow maintained sobriety, but I'd let go of giving God authority over everything in my life. I just kind of kept him in this little sobriety box, you know what I mean? And so like I see that tattoo and I'm like, this is wildly different. This is 180 degrees apart from my understanding of things, and, but it's like, what, I'm like, what am I going to do? Convince her otherwise, like all I can do is do what I do.
Right. And live your life. And
really, and I was amazed and proud of her, like here she is going to this walk-in, and she was scared. She was genuinely scared, and you know what? Good on the girls that were at her table at that lock-in. I don't know who was there, Miranda or
Dallas,
and she said that, and I'm sure she, was like braced for them to be like, okay, go ahead and get out of here.
Yeah. Shun the non-believer.
And so
shame. Ding, ding.
She stayed, and so when she came back, she was like, I got to talk to you. I got to break all this down and tell you all these things. And, and she's like, tells me this part where they asked that question and she answered. And I'm like, well, then what happened? And she's like, they were like, we're so glad that you're here.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for sharing that with us. And so I think that was a powerful moment.
When you're on the outside, right? When you're on the outs and you're not like on the in or whatever, right? Like you're just you. Like the perception of Christians is that like they're judgmental. Right? That if you don't agree with them, shun you. You're going to hell. You're damned. You're whatever, right? And so I'm like, here I am, this girl that none of these women know. They don't know me. They really don't. Like, they've seen me. I've talked. I'm like, I'm friendly. But, like, they don't know me.
Right.
And they maybe didn't even know, because they'd seen me, but maybe they didn't know that, like, I was not in. Right? And then, like, I'm just like, boom! I'm not in. Right. And then it's like, wait for, like, the recoil, Like, what's going to happen next?
Right.
But they were just like, dang. Like, there's not very many people that we know that would just come in here and be like,
be honest about it.
Right. Because you just try and fit
Mm-hmm.
so that you wouldn't be that person.
Right.
But like, I am that person,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like, if I pretend to not be that person, then I'm not being who I am.
Right. It's not any good to look good if you're not good.
Right.
You know, and she's good with that.
Yeah. So after that, I mean, that's a very bold statement of, I don't believe in this stuff. What was your takeaway from that to lead you into the next steps? Because I know I had, like, I guess it was a couple months ago, whenever the morning was the church service that, you converted and everything. I don't even know the backstory on it and everything, but I had Travis and one other person like come up to me and said, "Hey, Michelle's in." You know what I mean? And I was like, "What?" And then I think I got a text message like almost immediately after like that happened. He was like, "Dude, Michelle, she finally had the moment and everything." I was like, what? Okay, yeah, we're okay.
But you got to understand, this is March of 2022.
Exactly, this is years in the making.
March of 2022 is the lock-in that we're describing right now, and the event that you're bringing up was Easter this year, 2025. Right.
Yeah,
so. There was a lot in that in between. So you want to give us maybe some
Cliff
milestones
notes,
something on that?
Yeah. So I mean, really, when we had like kind of started dating and I was still living in Kansas, some of the kids in Kansas kind of started talking about church. And Sebastian was like, "I want to go to church."
And you're like, "Why would you want to do that?"
And I was like,
"Oh, I forgot about this." And she was like, "When we come down, you can take Sebastian to church, but I'll stay home and clean."
I was like, "You can take him to church."
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, I was like, or if you come up one time, you can take him to church. Like, and I told Sebastian, I was like, hey, Trey can take you to church. Like, he's equipped to do that, but like, haha, not me.
Right.
And so I think some of that was like his curiosity, because like, to me, even before I was in my own journey, I was like, if he wants to know about it, I'm not going to be the one to say no. Yeah. Like, he's going to make his decision based on his experience, what he learns, what he finds out, because like, I'm here to facilitate him figuring out whatever.
Anything. Yeah.
Right. Whatever it is. If he decides he doesn't, then he doesn't. If he decides he does, he does. And I'm not going to be like, "You're so stupid," because like, that's not my place. That's his journey. That's his, whatever it's going to be. And so, I go to the lock-in, and then we keep going to church, and then cow camp we go to, which is a whole experience.
Yes, it
and
is.
I'm from Denver. I'm from the city.
Denver with the Subarus everywhere.
Yeah, she's not like she was from Cripple Creek or something.
Yeah, no, I'm from Denver. I'm from city stuff.
Concrete jungle.
Yes. And so I'm like, I'm going to go to cow camp. I'm going to go with my kid. Like, it's going to be an experience. And I told him, I'm like, but he cannot be in my group. Like, Sebastian cannot be in my group. He went too. And I was like, he needs to be in his group. And I said, because he needs to be challenged, and I cannot be there to save him, because it's sketchy. It's something he's never done. And like, my maternal instincts is going to be look, save him.
The first big vacation we all went on, he was 7. And we're at, what was it, Busch Gardens or something?
Yeah, a water park.
A water park in Virginia. And so we're on the way there, and she's like, anyway, so we're going to get there, and we got to put a life jacket on Sebastian, and he's probably going to get in the wave pool.
No, I'm saying that's what his face would have been.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he doesn't like water in his face.
And I'm like, we're going to a water park?
And I said, yes.
And I'm like, let's just not even go in. Like, I don't even like this. And so we get there, and he gets this life jacket on, and he's kind of like ankle deep, knee deep in the little wave pool, kind of splashing around, you know. I'll walk out and grab him and just chunk him into the wave pool, 20 feet. And Sebastian will tell you he threw me like a football.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, he was
smaller,
40 pounds or whatever. So about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could throw 40 pounds about 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, and I've never seen this in my life, but he went underwater and stayed underwater
in a life jacket.
In the life jacket. I've never seen. I mean, he could have just stood up. I don't think he was even far enough out. Like,
right.
But maybe he was. It was probably chest deep for me. But anyway,
it's pretty much traumatic for me.
Yeah. She's like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
you know?
He like pops out and he's like screaming, panicked, frantic, and I pick him up and I'm like, shut up, because he's like screaming and the lifeguards
he's like, somebody help me, somebody help me.
You know, and I'm like, if you wouldn't have just fucking thrown him, you know, I'm like, I'm not good. I am not good.
Yeah, she was big mad.
And so I just walk away. I just set him down in where he can stand, and I just walk away.
Oh, and he went under again, and I was like, stand up, and he stood up. He's like, you know, he's coughing. He when he went underwater, he inhaled so that he could scream. So he inhaled water and then came out screaming, burping water. It was gross.
Anyway, I left the room.
She books it.
I'm
and
gone.
So
I didn't book it. I just walked out angrily. I was angry. I went to the bathroom. I was breathing. I was not good. I was ready to kill everybody.
She's probably like, I told him not to do that. You know?
Yeah. Like, why can't we just listen?
So Sebastian like calms down and he sits down. And he's like, hey, where's Mom? I think we should go find her. I'm like, she'll find us when she's ready, you know? And he's like, I'm kind of hungry, you know? It's like, you know, because this is the way kids work, you know? Now we're back to okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so anyway, the point is that, like, I knew if we put him into, and it's pretty high. I mean, it's cows, mud, and he's weird about textures. Like, it's,
same.
I just knew.
I got some videos of him standing in the mud. He's just like, got some mud on his feet. And he's like, he's like just about to puke. It's the greatest thing ever.
I think there's poop in here.
I mean, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
But I just knew, like, if I was in that group,
right, you'd be coddling.
I would not. One, I wouldn't be experiencing it, and two, neither would he. Mm-hmm. And then who are we? We're just serving both of us, you know. And so I was like, I'll go. I'll be a sponsor.
I'll work hard. This. You know, you got to understand. Michelle had been going to church with us, and Sebastian had been going to church. And Michelle made like a conscious decision to stop listening to secular music and is like listening to worship music in the car, singing worship music at church. I remember you telling me
about that, yeah.
And so it was really wild because here we are at Cow Camp, at the AFCC Cow Camp. And like in the evenings, you know, they have the worship and they get the message. And like Michelle and Sebastian and I, with all of his little buddies, were like standing in there, like singing these worship songs. Mm-hmm. And, you know, some of the other not Wranglers, but sponsors are like, oh my gosh, you know, your wife is just worshiping. And I'm like, She don't know that God's real or not, you know. Like she just knows
things out.
This is a concert, you know, and he's like, oh, you know,
right.
And so it's just amazing to me. Like I don't know anybody that's like an atheist that just like listens to worship music,
right?
You know, and so this whole time I'm like telling people, I'm like, I think Michelle does believe in God. She just hasn't told anybody yet. It's kind of where I was going with it, but I got to watch Michelle have her first church camp experience, and she really did lean into it. And I think like the first day, this little girl was talking, and they were like, "Here, Michelle, go pray with her." And you were like, I
was like,
"I don't do that."
I was like, "I'm not equipped to handle this," you know. So yeah, and so I mean, like that was just a crazy experience because like the worship time, you know, like you get all these sweet little kids, even though they're annoying, because the kids are annoying. Mm-hmm. My son too. Like I'll tell him to his face. Yeah, I mean, kids, they just are. They just have a way about them. I'm sure I was annoying at some point too. You know, and I'm just like,
just leave us alone. We're doing math.
Yeah,
stay in your room.
Stay in your room. Keep your door shut. You know, but. You know, your bills wouldn't be paid if I wasn't alive, so you're welcome.
Right.
He's just like just all these kids though, like they're just there, and they're just like so childlike faith, you know, and like
that's
guess
exactly what came to mind.
Yeah, and so like I guess that's the thing, right? So like when I go to the lock-in, and like you guys have like sure maybe you've had your struggles, maybe you've you know kind of stepped away for a little bit and come back, but like he's always been there for you. Yeah. You know, like he's always.
Yeah, you consciously stepped away.
Yeah.
Right. Like her life experience is like
I was alone.
She didn't know that she was invited to the table.
Right.
Yeah, like to me it was me. Like I was there, and so the last lock-in I went to before the Easter service, we were talking, and one of the questions was like, what do you think it is that's like keeping you from like that deeper connection with God? And like everybody had to answer it. So it wasn't like specifically just a question for me. It was like one of the questions. And I was like, if I have to be honest, probably pride,
Which is
That's a big one right there.
So-
like she's the most like introspective, like self-aware, healthy person I've ever met.
Yeah.
That's had the trauma and abuse and neglect from day one of her life, and has never, didn't go to church, never had a counselor. You know what I mean? Like never completed a treatment program, didn't take any medication.
Yeah.
It's like my wife's like the rarest thing in the world.
Right.
It's unobtainium. You can't have her.
You can't have her.
She slid in the DMs and I locked it down.
Yeah, she liked 70 of your pictures.
I bought her a ring that she picked out, and when it got to me, it had a Made in China sticker on it.
Oh no!
I was trying to buy on a budget. Let's just be real. I'm frugal.
Yeah.
So then we looked at it, and the next day we went to the mall and we traded it in.
We swapped it. We returned it. We didn't trade it in. We returned it. We were in the return period.
And then she financed
something better.
Yeah, monthly payments.
So
the pride, you're going to piggyback.
Thing. Yeah.
And Dallas somehow again was in this group. Mm-hmm. So she was in my first group. She wasn't in my second group. She wasn't in my third group. Because I think that's the fourth one I've gone to, if that sounds right. Yeah. And so somehow she was in my group again, and she was like, "That's right." She was like, "Ha ha ha, gotcha."
You're getting it.
And then, there was like,
didn't we have a conversation early? And you said something about pride, and I said I don't view pride as a good thing. Did we have a conversation about that?
I don't know.
Maybe relating to Sebastian.
Yeah, maybe.
Being proud of something
yeah,
he
but
did,
like there. Yeah, but I mean, like I think there's a difference between being prideful and being proud of something.
Yeah, I agree.
But like when we were talking about when she was, they're like, dig in, like give me more, ha ha ha, and I was like, well, I think that. Maybe like some of the hiccup for me in particular is that like if I acknowledge that maybe God was there, then maybe I didn't do it by myself, then it's like, like my identity, right? Mm-hmm. It's like I've been through this and I made it through this and I didn't let it define me, right? Like I overcame it. I figured it out. I worked hard. I endured more than people should endure, like definitely didn't get protection from people who should have protected me.
Right.
And so I'm like, then I have to like admit that like maybe someone was helping. Yeah. I don't like that.
Yeah. And then the help that you got, you weren't really happy with it.
Yeah. It didn't feel like it was very helpful.
Right.
Especially like in the moment, right? Like in that time. And like, I guess the interesting thing, like we've had conversations before, it's like when you're in it, you don't really get it, but like if I look back at my life and like I'll be the first one to sit here and say my parents sucked, like they were terrible, but like I'll give them the grace to say that they probably did the best that they could do. Yeah. That was probably the best that they could do with the circumstances that they had, like my mom's got her own trauma. I don't know what that looks like. I know some of it, but like we never talked about it because she was too high to care. Exactly. I was on the bus trying to get food, was dumpster diving for donuts. So like we didn't have time to talk about why she was how she was.
Right.
But I think that realistically, like she probably did the best she could, but like the reality is the best was not good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And in a sense, every single human being is like that. At some point somewhere, the best is not good enough.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the bookend of the deal.
Right.
And so like we talk about father wound or, Heavenly Father. We talk about, being a parent, being a kid, the disparity and experience. And you know, even my own mom, you know, it's like I'm just trying to like remember, like, how did this go? And she's like, oh, it's just we didn't do good. You
I'm
know, I
so
mean, she
sorry,
so
know.
sorry.
Yeah.
I should have done this. I
But
should
we're
have
like,
done
that's not
that.
what we're saying. We're just
I'm
trying to
like,
talk
We're
about
just
it.
trying to
I'm
figure
just
it
trying to
out.
remember. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm getting farther along
Mm-hmm.
away from these events, and I'm just trying to have a clear understanding. And I think, wow, you know, I mean, like even prior to Michelle being saved, here we are, you know, and she's like, you know, I think my parents did the best they could.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's
that's a
very big of you.
super mature
Yeah.
way to look at it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so lock in pride.
Yep. So then I was like,
Did you have like more stuff after that that just like kept coming up? Like,
I mean, it's like I don't really know. I don't really know like how I got to the Easter. You know, like the Easter service. Like I don't like it.
Well, there's a couple of things. Like, so we took this crazy long road trip the summer prior, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last summer, not this summer, but last summer. And Jared Hill had been like, hey, maybe you should watch or, you know, read this book. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist.
yeah.
And so, like, I got it on Audible and we listened to 3/4 of it or something. And, like, we were at a gas stop and I'm like, what are you thinking about this book? And she's like, this isn't what my issue is. And it was all like
Right.
astrophysics and
Yeah.
creation and just, I mean, it was like big scientific stuff of
Yeah.
like, well, if you really believe that God doesn't exist, then what about this? And what, you know, I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed the book. I
Right.
didn't retain a bunch of it.
I think that people that want to go that intellectual route, like it's a good thing to read and investigate those things. But I think it's a cop out whenever you say, I don't believe God because of the millions and billions of miles and odds and ends of all the
or like
things and
flat
all
Earth or whatever.
yeah,
your deal
like
is,
I
you
think
know?
it's such a cop out to say I don't believe in that because of the cosmos. Dude, you're not you live in the cosmos, but you're not the one that's building the cosmos. You're not the one that's running into the difficulties of physics and chemistry and all that kind. You're not. You're running into the day and day of you getting to work, of you not losing your temper
Struggle.
on exactly. You're
Struggle.
living in the struggle of the cosmos. And if you're so detached with yourself and you have to go like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is just like, you know, spouting out all this bullshit that, you know, he's been indoctrinated into, you're really not focused on the things of life that you really need to be focused on. So yeah, like let's talk about Easter. Let's talk
Yeah.
Easter.
Well, so like on that trip, we're driving, and like we drove from here to Gallup, New Mexico, to San Francisco, to Portland, Oregon, down to Denver, back to Tyler.
Yeah, those were
And
all day trips.
They were like
Boom, boom, boom.
one day at a time, you know. And so we're driving to Portland from San Francisco, and you know we tried to listen to the book, but I was like, haha, not vibing with that. And it's not anything in particular, but it just wasn't like. There's just sometimes
wasn't your problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't your fight.
We were just like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. And so we're driving, and everyone's tired, and like there's not very many moments in my life in particular where I've been like, I was here right now for a reason, or this experience happened for a reason, or like, you know. But so we're driving, and I'm driving, and he's in the passenger seat, Lexi's in the back, and I'm just like, do, and everyone's tired. We're exhausted, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we're like coming around this curve, and I see what I think is a Toyota 4Runner, silver Toyota 4Runner coming toward me. And then it just disappears. And I was like, babe, I think a Toyota 4Runner just ran off the road.
Yeah.
Like I think that's just happened, you know. And I'm like, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm losing my mind, like I don't know.
Gotta turn around,
like
gotta
yeah,
go
and
look.
I was like, you think we should turn around? He's like, we should just turn around and check. And it's single lane, so it's like hard to turn
Just
around.
turn
And were we on the 101?
The 101, yeah. And so like there was like this little thing, and I like turned around and we're headed back, and I'm like, we're looking, you know, and And Trey's like, I don't see anything. And I was like, okay, good. I'm crazy. I would rather be crazy than a Toyota
absolutely.
4Runner ran off the road. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh my gosh, there's smoke. And this car is upside down. And I mean like 60-foot drop.
Yeah. Probably 45, 60 foot, something like that.
It's upside down. The top of the car is facing up. And
the bottom of the car.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Like we're staring at the bottom of the car. It's up. Right. And I like pull over and I call 911 and we're like, Lexi, flag a car down. And Trey is like looking. And so I'm on the phone. I'm like, there's a flipped over car. Yeah. I don't know where I'm at.
I'm like about to run down this hill. Cause like,
what do we do?
I'm wearing flip flops,
and Lexi, the car that she flags just happens to be off-duty firefighters
in a fire truck, like a F-350 or something. You know what I mean? And so, they're like young kids. They're wearing like casual. They're wearing like casual.
And they just like boom down the hill.
Kid just runs down the hill. It was like the most manly shit I've ever seen in my life. He like looked left and just went boom, and just ran. This thing is like
smoking.
50-degree
and it's like smoking.
Yeah.
You know, like the car's smoking.
And like he's no one punching the window.
The guy's like the guy in the car's like, man, he's like honking his horn. I'm sure desperately hoping that someone will find him.
For his life.
Because like no one would have found him.
Yeah.
No one would have found him.
Dude comes back up. He's like, do you have a glass breaker?
And then this lady pulls off. The next lady pulls off. And she's like, I'm a probation officer EMT.
Yeah, she pulls out, gets out. She's got boots on. She's got like...
She's like in my front thing, you know, and so like we run. Like I grabbed like we had like a little tool that's not a glass breaker, but I was like, maybe this will break it, you know? And she's like, no, in there, like, and move my car around so it's out of the way, you know, and like it's just like everyone right at the right time. Like, what are the odds?
God was showing
what are the odds?
Like what are the odds that like I just happened to see this car go off the road?
Because nobody would have seen this.
No one would have seen it.
You couldn't have heard it.
And it literally just disappeared out of your...
Just gone. I couldn't see it behind me.
You didn't see it go into the woods.
No, because it was a curved road.
Right.
And
there was no one behind me.
Yeah, there was no traffic going either direction. It was just his car and our car.
And so then there just happened to be like a little loopy-de-doop to turn around.
Right.
And then we turned around and then we just happened to get a firefighter. Yeah. And then an EMT parole officer just happened to pull over.
Like it was in a hole. Like, you know, like we're on the, you know, a quarter mile, half mile to our left is the ocean.
Right.
You know,
and I'm just like
cliffs,
shaking,
there's
you know,
cliffs
like,
on the other side. It's crazy, you know, and the firefighters are like, you know, our radio doesn't work. And, you know, I mean, it was just, it was pretty intense, you know.
I was like shaking, you know, I was like, I saved a guy's life today, I think. Right. You know, I think I saved a guy's life today. You know, I'm like high, like on that feeling. Mm-hmm. And so like, you know, there's that. And then like, I only have one other moment like before that, like my son's birth, you know, like.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't supposed to have him,
right.
But I got him right in time, just in time, 2 months before someone really important to me passed away. And he got to see me be a parent. And so like I was on birth control. I have PCOS. They were like, you may not even be able to have kids.
Right.
And somehow I wound up pregnant and had my son exactly 2 months before I lost this individual, you know? And so it's just, there's like a couple moments in my life, you know, but it's like we get to Easter and like we were supposed to go on this river trip and that's after Easter. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. But we get to Easter and I'm like thinking about, like I was already thinking like maybe I'll just do communion this time, you know?
Because she's been coming, but she's been abstaining from communion.
Yeah, because I'm like, I can't do that. That's, you know,
right.
That's not how this
you
works.
Can do it. You can do it.
You understand that. That's what's, you know, that's something that's, obviously, you're developing a respect for it because you definitely could have just done like all of us East Texas backwoods folks, just like, I need some grape juice and some bread right now. I'm a little hungry.
Yeah, but I'm like, I'm not going to do it until I mean it, you know? And so I was like, anyway, I was like, it's okay, you know, maybe I'll do it, like, you know, and I'm like Googling, I'm like, can I do communion if I still have doubts? Can I do be-do-boo-do-boo? You know, I'm like, tell me what to do. And they're like, well, typically, you know, like, it's better to, like, be sure before. And I'm like, okay, maybe I won't do it. And then I'm like, maybe I will do it. And then I'm just, like, having this little battle inside my head. And then, like, Travis's sermon that day, I was like, this motherfucker is talking to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm like, Who paid you to write this? You know, like let me have a word. You know,
the Lord,
and
the
so,
Most High.
And so then he like did his little like end of the sermon talk, and he was like, you know, you don't have to be 100% sure to have faith. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could probably pull. He didn't record. That didn't get recorded, and I was really disappointed about it. But it was like, you don't have to be 100% to like have the faith, to like take the step, to like doobie do. You know,
that's the key of the mustard.
And she had a couple of like, it was just like she couldn't round it down. She couldn't put a word to it on like what it was that was, you know, what the little thing. And he said something to the effect of like, you know, if you haven't, you know, said this prayer, then there might be answers on the other side, effectively. You know, like you might, and I told you too. I was like, hey, you know, maybe
the next
like
step is just
searching, you know,
step.
like the next step is just crossing the line, and then you're going to get some more answers. You know, you just can't.
That's faith. That's stepping out in the faith.
It is in itself. That
but it seems a little crazy, you know. And so he like does this little talk, and he's like, you know, and if you want to, and you say this prayer, and if you said that prayer, you know, no one's looking, you know,
like
just like look up, you can just look up, you know. And I'm like, I think Travis is talking to me, you know? But like, it didn't feel like just Travis was talking to me. Like it was like more than just Travis talking to me. There was like a feeling, like a vibe, if you will. And so like, I just like looked up, and Travis didn't even notice that I looked up.
Oh,
yeah, didn't even
we
notice.
sit on like the third row, right? You know, like we're right up.
And so like I looked up, but like Miranda noticed. There was like a couple people like that were at the tables that noticed. You know,
they were the ones that'd been watching like
they
this
were like
whole
this,
time,
you know?
every Sunday. Like she gonna look at.
And I was sitting in front of her, wasn't I? Because I came back with it.
I don't know, because communion was after that, right?
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, communion was after that.
I was sitting on the row in front of you, and you and Lexi were behind me.
Okay.
Because I came and gave y'all. So like I'm sitting in front, so like I'm just looking down, and I felt like something was weird because I brought you
and you accepted it.
Yeah, communion was before this. So
when he went to get communion,
I'm like, how
I was
many
like
do I
5.
need? She's like 5,
and he was like,
what?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it was like.
Yeah, I'm like, what are we doing?
The math's not mathing. It does not compute.
Yeah.
But
he's still confused about it.
Yeah, I mean, so and you know, and so like I just looked up, you know, because like I just felt like I needed to look up. Like I don't know that I was like, God, this is 100% real. Like I don't know that like I even felt like that really inside my body. Yeah. But like I felt like I needed to look up.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just did it.
Yeah.
And then it was like, Michelle looked up, you know, and then it was like a thing.
Yeah, then like Miranda came running over, and she's like crying. You know, everybody's crying. People were hugging.
I was crying a little, but we won't admit that because I don't cry.
And I'm like, and they're like, what happened? What'd you do? And Michelle's like, I just did what he said.
Yeah,
I just did what Travis said.
I just listened to Travis, and I just looked up because I said the prayer, and I had to look up because I said the prayer because I followed the instructions. You know.
Yeah. And so I'm like, we got to take a picture. I'm like talking to people, and she's just like.
I'm like catatonic, you know.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely. Well, so that's a big step. Like one thing that I know that has happened to a lot of churches in the area is you'll have these people who will like get so emotionally involved in everything, right? And then they have this emotional experience, and then they start putting expectations on the church to match those experiences in every which way. And I was raised Pentecostal, so I know the blueprint of it all. But I find that it's in the stillness, in the smallest voice, is where God speaks. It's not where he just like baptizes you with fire and then you just turned into the Super Saiyan and all this kind of stuff. Like,
yeah, it talks about a whisper.
It's the still small voice where God has spoken to you. I mean, you had a shared experience, in my opinion, with God on whenever you saw that car go down, and you being willing to serve in that, serve your fellow man, and respond in a way that was very supernatural. And you saw people just start showing up.
And the guy was okay.
Exactly.
He didn't die. He was barely bleeding. I was like,
like
I think he got injured getting out of the broken
probably
glass.
more than like the actual wreck.
Yeah,
He fell asleep, so he was asleep. He like didn't.
But like,
he's like, I wasn't speeding, but I did smoke weed.
Of course, you're in California. But like, he didn't have to be in like a dire situation, because I know my Heavenly Father looks after the sparrows. You know what I mean? The little things he is involved with. And it certainly could have been a situation where he would have died, but that's not. God doesn't just show up whenever somebody's dying. You know what I mean? He sends the people that he wants there, and he is able to use whoever he wants to, who's willing to be available for him, even if we don't even know that we're willing to be available for him. And so you had a shared experience with God, and then there's conversations that God has with our hearts that we can't even begin to comprehend, because it's the way that he speaks. Like, I've had moments whenever I've believed that I've heard the audible voice of God, but then I've also had a lot more moments where I didn't need an audible voice. I knew, because of the character of God, of who I've been learning in my faith, and knowing that the Holy Spirit dwells within anybody who proclaims the name of Jesus and is willing to subject themselves to that. Like, I'm not the one, y'all can come for me if you want. I'm not the one that's like, you have to be baptized in the Holy Spirit and fire, and then you will prophesy, and then all the tongues will speak. Because quite frankly, that's not what happened in the New Testament. That's not what's happened in church history. We have a faith that is rooted in truth, and that the God of the universe chooses to speak to us in the way that he chooses to. Not in a way that, the pastor tells us, hey, if you'll do this, Trey, if you'll just do this, if you'll just do this, if you'll just do this, then your wife is going to believe you. That's not the way it works, because he is the one, he's the vessel. He's the one who has led his family in a way that God has ordained and that God has fashioned. And in my opinion, you've followed that because you love this man and you respect this man and you respect the things that he is about. And God chooses to speak to both of you in the way that y'all will both respond. And I think that just you being willing to even look up, that's sometimes that's the big step. Jesus talks about the faith of a mustard seed.
I have a mustard seed in my closet.
Yeah, you do. And
oh yeah, because she went to Soft Warrior too.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did go to Soft Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing, is there's a lot of things that we may go to that, I know there was plenty of things that I went to where I'm like, okay, whatever, that was kind of weird or whatever. It's not that I didn't not believe in God.
But believe me, she had that feeling too,
Yeah, I bet. But then in hindsight, whenever we step back, reanalyze the situation, you can see God's hand in so many things. And sometimes that we have to look for that. It's like you were saying, when we're in the suffering, when we're in the goodness, we don't always see God, because we have to look for him. And if that's where, like, my daughter, I want to train her up to be in the good situations, the bad situations, the difficult, all the above. I want her to be able to look for those things, because it's not easy to see them whenever we're not looking for them. Whenever we're focused on our situation of how holy cow, I've just won the lotto. You know what I mean? Holy cow, I've just lost everything in my life. You know, go right down the list. If you're not looking for God in all of those situations and what he wants you to do, you're not going to see him.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because, like, I didn't look for God, you know, like, I never did. And so, like, one of the lock-ins, you know, Dallas, who adore her, she challenged me. She was like, hey, like, look back, you know, and, like, just look at the situations and evaluate, like, how may God have been there, right? And so then, like, I think about my big sister, right? Like,
yeah,
she didn't owe me anything. She didn't have to be there.
And she just saying, I am a CH.
Mm-hmm.
CHRSDIAN. You know, that's the little things.
CHRSTMIHEART. Yeah, I know the whole thing. I still have it memorized.
Yeah.
And I didn't even, like, she was just, like, it was, like, the first demonstration of, like, what I would say, like, Christ's love, Jesus' love would look like, right? Like, doing something for someone even though you don't have to, just because. And when she and I got paired up, she didn't want kids, and you know, after the relationship that she and I developed, she decided she wanted kids. And her son is in college now and goes to CSU, and, like, that's like an effect of a decision she made, or, you know, or that God put on her heart, right, to, like, help a little girl that needed someone. Like, I desperately needed somebody, you know, and she gave me grace, and she gave me stuff that no one else ever gave me, you know, love, you know, just like that, right? And so, you like, I think about that, and then, you know, I think about even meeting my best friend that's dating his brother. We met in college. Right. So I was living in a dorm, and then I needed to find a roommate, and I, like, got on the internet and found, like, a roommate situation. And the girl that was living with me, her name was Molly. She was taking a OChem class or a microbiology class with her.
Okay.
And that's how we met.
Got you.
You know, and then, like, we ended up being really great friends, you know? And then she left her long-term relationship and started dating his brother. And, like, had he not moved to Colorado and they not started dating and her 12-year relationship not have ended, then, like,
Trey wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't have met him, you know? And so it's like, it's when you, like, look back and you, like, start to think about it, and it's like I can't win the lottery.
Right.
How did all of that happen?
Right.
Just right. Just the way it did.
Right.
You know? And so that's been kind of, like, an interesting thing to, like, reflect on the opposites, like, when you get to the outside of it, because, like, when I went to CSU, people would, like, walk campus and try and talk to you about God, and, like I was, like, not
right now.
Yeah, not in the space. Like,
not interested.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, I think that the other part of it is, like, when you heal from some of that, you know, because, like, I think I was in anger, you know, like, I wouldn't have.
You get triggered.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that, like, my parents did their best at that point in my life. You know, at that point in my life, I was, how could you do this to me? Like, how? And, you know, like, I got pregnant and had a kid, and I thought maybe I could understand my mom better because, like, I'm pregnant, I have a kid now. Now maybe some of her decisions will make sense, but they made less sense.
Right.
But, like, then that's like I want to be angry, right? Because I'm like, they make less sense. But then I'm like, you must have really had no other choice.
Right. There's no other option.
If you couldn't just get it together, because there's no effort, energy, limit, bound that I wouldn't go to ensure that Sebastian doesn't experience anything that I experienced. So, like, if this was literally the best you could do, then, like, it had to be the best you could do because I can't make it make sense otherwise.
Right. Well, also, you had, I think, a unique opportunity with Alexis because you got to help make sure that similar things didn't happen. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I got to save. So, like, that is a thing we've talked about that, like I
think you got some healing on the mother thing.
Yeah, because all of that. Yeah, because, like, you know, all I wanted was for someone to, like, save me. You know, someone give me a safe place. Someone let me feel my feelings. Let me just be a kid You know, I don't know what being a kid is like. And we've had some interesting conversations because Sebastian will be doing, like just kid stuff. And I'm like, what the heck is he doing? You know, like, shut up, but he's just being a kid because that's what kids do. But I don't know what being a kid is like.
That.
So like, how can I be a good mom when I don't know what being a kid's like, you know? Because I'm just like, are you dumb? Like, and I don't mean that. I'm like, but it's just like, what are you doing? Like, this makes no sense, like, can't figure out how to do something that like he should just be able to figure out because like, dude, I got on the bus,
right?
Took a bus to a Walmart,
right,
as a kid to get groceries. Like,
how old were you?
That would have been 4th grade. Yeah. So, he's a 7th grader now. I mean, he's a 6th grader now. So I'm like I was stealing the food stamp card while my mom was passed out, taking the bus to the Walmart to be able to get food,
using the EBT card,
using the EBT card, and bringing all the food back to the house, walking from the bus stop back to the house, cooking food, cleaning. Like I was an adult. I was an adult.
Yeah, and when he was in 4th grade, he was like, "How do you cook the Pop-Tarts?"
Yeah,
I mean, it was like it's like there's instructions
read the instructions,
on the box.
like solve the problem. But like part of your job as a parent is to teach them how to do that, right? Like help them develop
allow them the space to figure it out too.
Yeah,
I mean, but that's hard, right? Because we have schedules and times because we're not on drugs and just doing whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, look, you need to learn this, but
not
also
today.
I don't have the time to teach you.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but also like, do you remember learning anything about the bus?
No.
Exactly.
I just figured it out.
Sometimes those are supernatural things that happen to us whenever we're kids. You don't know how you learned it. You don't know where you
might be onto something. That might be another experience of like when you look back,
and
like how did you know
that's
these
something
things?
Where we don't understand our own development sometimes and how we got to where we are. But like, I'm willing to bet that was a spiritual development within you that you didn't even have any idea of. And I'm not even prepared to back the theology up with that. But I can tell you that you've made it this far and you've gotten to the point to the next point that you needed to be. And I'm thankful to God for so I said it in the episode earlier today. What punishments of the world are not gifts from God? Existence is a gift, and we have the gift of not doing it alone. And I am a believer that the Holy Spirit dwells within us from the very beginning, not in a sense of our necessarily from salvation, but we do get that point where we reject the Holy Spirit. And for you, it definitely sounded like you had a supernatural thing going on just in survival. Because, I mean, you were in fight or flight mode your whole life, but you didn't have to go to Walmart. You didn't have to go get food from the Walmart to provide for your brother, for your family. You didn't have to clean up. You didn't have to learn how to do any of that stuff. Yet, here you are, and you've gotten trauma from it as a child, and now you carry that over now, and you're like, well, if we leave the dishes out, there's worms going to develop. That's something that's that tension managed with the whole Holy Spirit and trauma and things that our lives like lead us into, that the more and more that we start to look into search and look for God in those situations, the more we see him. Like I
should have probably been kidnapped.
Definitely. Absolutely. Like, thinking back to the way that the 90s and the early 2000s were, I mean, you had kids on, all kinds of news stations. If you see this child, bring them up and everything, but you weren't. Yeah. And I'm very thankful to know you and to know Trey and, to know your story also. Like that is wild to hear you go through everything and break it all down.
And this was like very tame.
This Cliff Note.
Yeah.
This is Cliff Notes
tame.
version.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could imagine, I was it's worse.
Yeah, I was like trying to I was telling him like before we started, I was like, man, I got real anxiety, because like I'll go into like probably like the darkest of my days, and I was telling him, I was like, like, so something real bad happened to me. I'm a girl. You can guess what it is just because I'm female. Like it's part of some female experiences. And I told trusted adults, and the trusted adults
didn't do anything.
Did nothing. Continued to keep the individual in close enough quarters.
Yeah, no.
And so I was like, you know what? If no one cares, I'll just kill myself. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I was like when I think about it. In that moment, like when I did what I did, right, to like die,
right,
I was gonna die. Like I was so set. Like today's the day I'm gonna die. I was like, I was ready. But like as an adult now, and I like look back, I was for sure not gonna die.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough. I didn't have enough knowledge, right? Like I didn't know how to effectively kill myself. I was just like, if I just do this, I'm just gonna bleed out.
Right.
No one's gonna know. No one's gonna care.
Right.
For sure, no one's gonna care. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
I'm thankful you were stupid in that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like, so I'm like, when I'm trying to like tell the story and represent the story, it's like in my brain, that was the last day I was gonna be here.
Yeah.
But like, it for sure wasn't. I just didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
And so it's like when you talk about that, it's like, how do you accurately depict some of this stuff? Because like to my mom, she did the best she could. She's like, I was a good mom. You turned out so good.
Right.
And I'm like, in spite of you, not because of you.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's
I don't want to bring up all the stuff. I don't want to bring up everything.
I don't need to tell you everything because like you got a good enough idea that it was epic.
Yeah.
And so it's like where I'm at now, we had the river trip that we were supposed to go on that got canceled because the river was flooding. And so I'm glad we didn't go.
Glad y'all didn't go.
Yeah.
I was like,
they went to Garner State Park.
Yeah, they did. Right. They went camping, but like I was really particularly really wanting to go on the river trip because I was going to try and have a conversation with Travis to talk about maybe being baptized in the river. Because I was like, if I was gonna do it, like a river feels like the place to do it.
Yeah.
Like when
not a water trough.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean like that's not bad either, but you know what I mean? It's just like symbolism, like things like that. And so then I was like, maybe I can have that conversation, but then it was like, maybe we'll go, maybe we won't go, maybe we will go, maybe we'll go. And so I was like, well, maybe like that's my sign, like it's not time, you know, like, or whatever, right? Like I'm just trying to like figure it out because I'm still trying to figure out the discernment, No, I'm just kidding. And so we actually ended up opting out of going to the river trip altogether.
Yeah.
We didn't go to the camping trip because we were like, you know what? There's some things we've been really putting off. We haven't really been spending time. Like we
need to handle some things. There
are some priorities that like we really need to take care of to make sure that like our boat is headed in the correct direction as a couple.
Right.
And so that was
Mommy
like
and daddy type shit.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that was like a tough decision because like, of course we want to go and like just have fun and hang out. Right. But like one, it was going to involve some money that we needed to do some repairs and some things that we've been putting off. Yeah. And so like we made that tough choice, and so ultimately we didn't go. And so I was like, that's okay. We'll figure it out when it's time. I'll figure that portion out whenever I get like the sense that it's time, And so like, I'm just trying to like
fast forward communion.
I'm just trying to like, figure out what that is or what that will be, because like Travis is like next steps and I'm like, I get that. But I'm just kind of trying to sit in it and, like I did a lot of years of my life without faith or without attempting faith or without practicing or even, even giving faith the opportunity. And so that's where I'm at. And, like I've already learned really quickly into my faith, like you'll get hurt. Church hurt's real.
Absolutely.
Things happen. People are people. Mm-hmm. But like, I can't let those experiences shape my attempt at faith and even to my growth.
to let that experience affect the character of God who you're getting to know.
Yeah,
Right.
or my character development,
Right.
you know, because
Because
like
God has brought you
right,
this far.
right, because like I'm gonna be me no matter
Mm-hmm.
who, and I'm gonna treat people the way that feels the correct way, no matter how they treat me, because that's what I feel is right, and I'm sure that that would be the discernment, that would be the character, that would be trying to make sure that when someone interacts with me, they're like, I want to be more like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Which is, I mean, this should be an attraction thing, I
Mhm.
think. I mean, so it says, you know, that you'll be known by your fruits, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's an interesting thing. I don't know if you sent it to me or I sent it to you, but there's this like female preacher, you know,
Whoa.
and she was on stage and she was like, "What if I told y'all that this water bottle had vodka in it?"
Mhm.
You know, or she was like, "It's good if I drink this water bottle," and they were like, "Yeah," and then she's like, "What if I told you it was vodka?" And they were like,
No.
and then you know, she was like, what if I told you it was water and I dropped it and you could smell that it was vodka?" You know, and then basically like
And then they were like, "Are you sure it's vodka?"
yeah,
I mean, you know, it's sure it's water. But then she's like, "No, it's water." And they're like, "I can smell it's vodka."
and
Yeah.
like the point of it was whatever's inside of you, if you get squeezed or dropped or you break, that's what comes out.
Regardless.
Okay, so if you're filled with the Holy Spirit, if you're filled with love and caring and respect and compassion, kindness, you know what is kindness, love, whatever, all the things, you know, the things they're in the Bible.
The fruits of the Spirit.
That if you're filled with that and you get broken, that's what comes out.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I understand that, like, you know, I'm not going to know another man's heart. God knows that.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to stay out of it. People give Christians a bad name. I think she's demonstrated that like people on the outside of organized religion, people that are on the atheist, agnostic, non-religious, the nuns, those kinds of people, they look at Christianity as a whole. They put you in a box and they go, these are the arbiters of the world. These are the people that stand on the street corner and say, you're going to hell, you're a bad person. And I don't think that, you know, that's been my argument with her the whole time. It's like, hey, that's not what it is.
Yeah.
You know, that's not what it is.
Yeah, but it takes one bad experience and then it closes the door.
But I think, you know, I've said it before, like whether you're on the left or the right, whether you're a Christian or an atheist, standing on the street corner screaming at people is probably not it.
Yeah.
You know?
Either way.
Yeah.
I think there was a time and place for it at some point.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't think
not now.
Like now is the best way.
Like her best example of God's love was her big sister Julie.
Exactly.
Prior to I don't know when.
I mean, still to this day, really. Yeah. I mean, like
that's the first best example, the clearest example of somebody
just willing.
Somebody, you know, not preaching, not trying to convert her, but just showing her kindness and goodness and love.
Yeah.
And then with just like a little bit of music.
Doxology is what we call that in Christianity.
Yeah. You know, but so, I mean, there's been plenty of people, right, who have like imprinted and done like kind things and been, you know what I mean? But I needed her the most.
Yeah. That one really stuck.
Yeah.
And I think God knew that you needed her.
And she needed me.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't know that as a kid, you know, like to me as a kid, I was just like, someone loves me.
Right.
You know? And then she was just like, kids live like this.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing is like God will shine a light in this direction, in a dark room, in this direction, and then that light will shine a light to somewhere else. Yeah. And then that light shines a light back to the original.
And so I talked to my big sister and I was like, you know, I want to like, even before I was in where I'm at now, I was like, you know, I want to really like do big brothers and big sisters. Like I want to help a kid in that way. And so like she and I were having a conversation like that again recently. And she's like, it seems like you already got a chance to do that with Lexi.
Yeah. 100%. And you're not even with the program.
Yeah.
You know?
And Sebastian. I mean, you know, and me, you know? So I don't know. It's, you know, Travis talked about stewardship, you know, And like, I went through most of my life wanting what I have now. And when I finally hit my knees at Cross Brand and, Paul Roberts and Jeff Butler and all those guys, and we prayed, and like, I mean, I really believe God sent Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah. For real. Like, I wanted to marry her before she moved. I'm like, let's just get married.
Yeah.
I know it,
Yeah.
and nothing's changed, like, yeah, it would be pretty tough to convince me otherwise.
Right.
So, but like, how do you know? Like, how do I know that? Right.
Right.
I think that's discernment,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't explain how I know it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like, I didn't decide it.
You know that.
I didn't go, yep, I think she's the one. I knew she was the one.
Yeah.
And it was at a time when I personally wasn't sure. I was trying to kind of weigh my options,
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like, I just got this overwhelming peace and sense about it that it's like,
I ignored some pretty red flags about it too.
And I wanted to fight it, I didn't want her to be the one. I mean, I kind of did, but I kind of didn't. But, it was like, it wasn't like
ideal.
A convenience thing. It
right,
wasn't like,
exactly.
she lived in Kansas.
Yeah,
there
she's
was
not
a
like
lot
just
of
around the
problems.
corner or anything like that. Yeah.
He had to go a long way to find me.
Proximity is a deal in relationships. It's
absolutely.
pretty. I've got some friends that live in other places in the world, and it's hard. It's hard to keep a good friendship when you're hours and hours and hours away from somebody.
Yeah.
Even with modern technology.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, cool. That's probably my favorite episode.
Yeah, I think it's mine too.
That is wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed your story. I know that you're going to continue on supporting Trey. And Trey, we're going to keep on trying to do this in the best times that you'll have to forgive us. Like we've had like schedule changes and everything like that. And, but we're definitely getting kinks worked out. I'm not going to say what more do you want from your faith, because like that's God's going to give you what he wants to. And
it's not what more I want, right? It's what more will there be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll find out.
Yeah, we will.
Awesome.
Well, yeah.
Well, this has been another episode of Two Dudes, One God Pod, and I think we've got some special treats next time. I believe we're going to have Aaron Hines back with some art.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank y'all.
Bye.